Uh, hello. Is this thing on? Is this thing on?
Live. It's live and rocking right now.
Well, all right, pal. Okay, with that being said, what's good, y'all? It's the Showmeister J. Christian Gary, along with Jay Wolf and Daniel Dizubecki out of Poland, and this is a very special edition of Focus Fights Audio Presents, as this is the review of RIZIN 47 that just took place over the weekend at the Yoyogi National Gymnasium First Arena in Tokyo, Japan. Shibuya Indo, Tokyo, Japan, might I add. Just because people need to be a little more specific when naming these things. But yeah, point of the matter is, before we talk about all of what the hell happened over the last weekend, and I know there's plenty we can look forward to and plenty we can get into. But Daniel, you first, and then Jay, you're gonna take the back half of that. What was your overall thoughts about this event going into and now leading out of it?
In my opinion, it was better than I initially thought when it got ended. I was a bit rushed about some things with the announcements which was taking place during the event. I think we will be talking about the announcements as well. I think. But and it seemed to be not very equally matched up. We had a lot of quick finishes, lots of first round finishes, but I don't think that it was the issue with the event. Actually, it was very fun night, maybe without one fight that I can't agree with the decision. But overall, it was a really good event. Maybe not the level of the previous one of the RIZIN 46, but in general, it was really good.
Okay, and Jay Wolf, what about you?
Oh, I love that. I thought it was a fantastic event. I mean, it was really only one fight was kind of not that good, and all the rest of them totally delivered. I mean, it was, as we saw in the preview show, on the odds, they were very evenly matched. There were a bunch of 60-40 fights, and just, there was upsets that happened, just finishes galore. There was 6 finishes out of 9 fights total. It was a lot of fun, and just. But one thing, it's just another event went by without a superior rule set finish, you guys. This is 3 in a row now where we haven't had a superior rule set finish. There was some superior rule set action, but it's not. There wasn't a finish. So, yeah. I mean, we're due on Super RIZIN 3. It's gotta. I mean, this is unprecedented. We've never. I don't think we've ever had this where it's been 3 events without a superior rule set finish. So,
yeah, it's just. Let me go ahead and basically be the bearer of good news for once. Just because there wasn't a superior rule set finish doesn't mean that, there wasn't any true finishes at all. No, this card had 6 finishes out of 9 fights. 5 of those 6 in the first round. So, just because of the fact that there wasn't any submission, just because there wasn't any soccer kicks or,
Well, wait! Don't call them soccer. Remember, from your interview, from Jay Krish's interview with Shingo-san, the number 2 at the Epic RIZIN Fighting Federation, he was saying that there was an effort underway right now to get the superior rule set legalized in America, and if we could call them grounded kicks instead of soccer kicks from now on. So just call them grounded kicks. I just want to make sure to emphasize that every show when we're talking about superior rule set. For the legalization effort that Shingo-san was talking about on Jay Krish's Focus Fights interview, to call them grounded kicks instead of soccer kicks.
Yeah, my bad. My apologies. Yeah, just because there wasn't any grounded kicks that took place on this card or elbows to the head of a downed opponent or anything like that, that doesn't mean necessarily, this card underwhelmed. This card was just pathetic. No, it meant that it was still your basic glorified violence buffet. It was just incredible to watch every fight, even the bad one, that basically was not needed. You know, it was basically great to watch every single one of these fights just be into from beginning to end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was cool, but I wanted more. There was only 9 bouts total. I felt this should have been longer. I know some like the East Coast people were, loving that it was only 9 fights and that it ended by like 2:30 ish or 5:30 ish Eastern time. I mean, but still, I mean, dude, for a pay per view, it should be the UFC gets 14 fights every single card, no matter if it's pay per view or an Apex Shed Warehouse event. So I think we should get something similar. Thankfully, they were saying on Super RIZIN 3 it's going to be about 12 to 13 bouts. So that's getting better. But I mean, still, I feel like it needs a couple more. But you're right. It was a good show, and it did go. And I can't wait to talk about the announcements. Do you guys want to talk about the announcements first, the news that broke today, or do you want to get into the card first, or how do you want to do this show?
I mean, come to think of it, let's go ahead and talk about the fights first, and then as the whole thing goes on, we can work our way down because I really want to talk about the Chihiro news. I mean, by order of what took place on the broadcast, because I really want to talk more about the Chihiro versus Manny news, and then obviously KSW and RIZIN. But let's go ahead and talk about the fights in order first, so that we can work our way down.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about the fights first. So for the audience listening, we're gonna talk about the fights first, and after we finish the fights, then we'll go through all the badass announcements that were announced. Chihiro, Manny, Kai to the UFC, the KSW collaboration confirmed, all that stuff, BKFC collaboration, Ultra collaboration, all that good stuff. We'll talk about after we finish giving a rundown of the fights.
Now, as was mentioned, this was a 9-fight card that took place from Yoyogi National Stadium First Gymnasium in Shibuya, Indo, Tokyo, Japan. 8 MMA bouts, 1 kickboxing bout that was really like, why? I mean, just so that Hyper Yo-Yo can get more screen time. I mean, granted, they already got more streams because of this. But still, though, point of the matter is we had 9 fights on the card, and the main event of this show was Kyoji Horiguchi getting his revenge on the Phenom Sergio Pettis in a bout that was about 2.5 years in the making. Kyoji Horiguchi defeating Sergio Pettis via unanimous decision in a fight that was pretty close, either way. And also, Horiguchi improves his record to 33-5, and Sergio Pettis drops his record to 23-7. Oh, looky here. Andrew saying, Abima demands you cease this live stream. Fat fucking chance I do, Andrew.
Yeah, we're not making the same mistake you did, Drew. We're switching the thumbnail and everything, so there's no chance of getting this one copyright struck.
Yeah, of course. But the point of the matter is, and yeah, like I said, fat fucking chance we change it up. I mean, I'm trying to change the thumbnail. It's not working right now, so let's just take it for what we can with a grain of salt. But still, though, Horiguchi defeated Pettis. The fight could have gone either way as far as the action went, especially in the 3rd round, where, I just watched the damn fight. Horiguchi basically dominated that 3rd round, but there was a moment, like, at the halfway point of the 3rd, where Pettis almost landed a beautiful spin kick that was easily defended. Had that connected, that fight would have been, it literally would have been like deja vu all over again. It literally would have been the same result as the first, only instead of a spinning back fist, it's a beautiful spinning kick. I gotta ask, what were y'all thoughts about Pettis' performance in this fight card and his 2nd time ever in a ring? First time under the Superior Rule set, I mean, do you think he kind of got screwed over by the judges?
Daniel, you want to go first?
Yes.
You gotta tell us who to go first. Let's just have Daniel go first this time.
I would
And
say that I was pretty sure after the 10 minutes of fight that Horiguchi will control this fight, and the first round has begun. And I think that Pettis kept in mind that he has to just, just do much more than he did in last 10 minutes. The first two rounds, and in the first round, he was trying to make a risk and just be more aggressive. And the third round made this fight the third round made this fight exciting and made this fight fight of the night, in my opinion. But in the first round, Horiguchi couldn't be finished by Pettis, and we had a great performance by both guys in the third round.
I see. And Andrew in the comments under the We Are RIZIN podcast banner saying, I hope you guys talk about Sergio Pettis' drunk Instagram promo.
We will, 100%.
But
I mean,
Jay, you have the floor now.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I love this bout. It was a great main event. I thought Horiguchi was going to come out with more of a chip on his shoulder, but he seemed like he just wanted to make sure he got the W this time and didn't want to take too many risks and kind of played it safe. Just continuing the game plan that he had from the original fight before the spinning back fist. And it just, the first two rounds was just total, pretty much Horiguchi masterclass domination. And just, he wasn't really taking that many risks. But then, Pettis started showing some signs of life in that towards the end of the second round. That's when he threw that first jumping spinning kick, right? And then the third round, Pettis really showed some life. And I think arguably would have won that third. And if it goes even longer in the fourth and fifth round, who knows what happened? But that third round, Pettis, Jay Chris, you were talking about the jumping spin kick that almost landed. What I thought was even better was, you remember that stomp? There was a part where he kind of dropped Horiguchi, and then he threw a beautiful stomp that just missed. It was like this close to landing. And if it had landed, that would have been a finish, and it would have been another sensational finish, like the spinning back fist went viral. A stomp knockout on Horiguchi would have gone viral as well. But it was just that close, bro. And then we could have had another upset. But no credit to Horiguchi. He got it done. He got this. He scored another takedown at the end of the third round to sort of seal the deal for the fight in the whole as a whole, because that's how it's scored over there in RIZIN. And it was just it was definitely a Horiguchi unanimous decision, but it was close. It wasn't like the first fight where it was like a Horiguchi just domination blow until the spinning back fist. This time it was, Horiguchi domination, but then kind of a Pettis started to mount a little bit of a comeback, especially in the third round. And the question remains, what would have happened if it went fourth and fifth round? So, and what Drew was talking about afterwards, Pettis got on IG and he did a drunken promo talking trash to Horiguchi and Mike Brown, and I don't know if we should say what he was talking trash about, but it was kind of funny.
I think I can go ahead and put it down in terms that I'm pretty sure he can. Everybody here can understand without getting a little too explicit. He basically told the fans and the haters to go eat a foot-long hot dog.
Yeah, that's what he was saying about Horiguchi and Mike Brown, saying they were, like you were saying, that's what he told him to go eat a foot long. But it was actually hilarious. But he was calling him out, saying Horiguchi did nothing but lay on him and wrestle him, and it would have been 5 rounds, he would have beat him. And he was calling for the trilogy bout to be 5 rounds, and I absolutely loved it. I love that they're already hyping the trilogy bout, because that was going to be what my ultimate conclusion was, is that this fight was much closer than the first one. You know, even though the first one had the spinning back fist knockout, this one was much closer, a decision with no finish, and it totally warranted, especially Pettis' third round, it warrants a trilogy bout. And you know, the promo afterwards, a drunken promo hyping up the trilogy bout already, and I love the point that it could usher in 5 rounds for either main events or title fights in RIZIN, which is absolutely needed. So I will 100% agree. Do the trilogy bout, but we're at 125 pounds though this time. Make it 5 rounds for the flyweight title at 125 pounds. That'd be a fantastic trilogy bout. Because what else are you going to do with Horiguchi right now? I mean, we were talking about it on the RIZIN Discord last night. In Spirit Kid was actually cooking with ideas, because we were talking about, you know, there's really no other. I mean, you can't match up the Oji Kubo again. Be like for the 4th or 5th time. No one wants to see that. You know, unless you do the immediate rematch with Sergio Pettis, there's really no. I mean, you can't match up with Shinryu again. He just was coming off a Shinryu win, so it's like Gucci is in this. But the conclusion was, but what the In Spirit Kid was talking about was make a Grand Prix, an 8-man Grand Prix. And just, I mean, that'd be perfect. It'd be perfect. And for multiple weight classes, we'll get into that later when we talk about the Chihiro Pac-Man news, talk about what's going to happen with Chihiro afterwards. But for this one, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think the trilogy bout should be immediately next? Should they do a flyweight Grand Prix? I mean, it's just, there's so many options, I think. Well, it just, I don't know. Would you guys rather have the trilogy bout for the flyweight title and ushering in 5 rounds, title fights or main events, or do a Grand Prix?
Well,
okay, go on. Go ahead.
Off, Andrew put over a exciting point that's been highlighted for about a hot minute here. If Pettis would have turned up in round 3, he would have gotten a Bay-Noah type of judge's decision, which, let's face it, that would have been punishment enough. I mean, especially considering the fact that the last thing, I mean, I wouldn't say a Bay-Noah type of decision. I would say more like a Bellator versus RIZIN fight card type of decision. You know, the ones that happened on New Year's Eve 2022.
Yeah, well, if they were going to give Pettis this, he would have had to land that stomp, like we were saying, and actually rock Horiguchi and put him in a threatening, you know, finishing position. Because Horiguchi did come back and score the late takedown in the 3rd to kind of seal the deal, right? So it's like, but I mean, Bay-Noah's decision, we'll get into that later. That was much more clear, and you know, than this one. This one was more Horiguchi was obviously winning. But the 3rd round, Pettis was mounting a comeback. So I would agree with what Drew was saying. If Pettis had landed the stomp or landed one of those jumping spin kicks and rocked Horiguchi and scored like a knockdown, you know, like, or a near finish, we should say, then I could see them, you know, then giving them the, because as we say, it's scored as a whole. So that would be possible to get that kind of a decision W, but it didn't happen. It left questions about what would have happened into the 4th and 5th round. That's why I think the trilogy is 100% warranted. I love Sergio Pettis' drunk Instagram, you know, promo afterwards. And he later, we should say, when he sobered up, did another Instagram post where he apologized for the drunken post and the trash talking. So it's you know, it's all good, but I mean, I love the promos there's already the promos are happening for the trilogy bout. So I actually, in this scenario, I actually think that they should do the trilogy bout more over the Grand Prix. But Sergio was saying that he's got to go fight back in PFL or Bellator again. So it's like, well, if he's got to go, then, you know, what are they going to do? Put Horiguchi on the shelf until then? I don't know. That's why I'm thinking maybe we should do the Grand Prix. It's just, I mean, what other options would there be?
Like I said before, I don't think RIZIN is doing, I mean, like I said to Shingo, I don't think RIZIN's doing a Grand Prix within this year. I do think they should be doing one next year, but also I do think that when it comes down to this potential trilogy bout, you know, El Pettis has fights coming up in the PF Bellator cage. You know, I do think that this trilogy bout should not be, left by the wayside throughout the year, and then, oh, by the way, we're waiting until next year when both fighters are completely hauled out just to see what happens. I think if they were to really get back on this, this ought to be a New Year's Eve type of fight. I mean, I'm pretty sure
For the trilogy bout? For the trilogy bout, or what do you mean?
for the trilogy bout.
Okay.
I'm sure Don Davis and his lazy ass PR team at Bellator/PFL can understand that. And I'm pretty sure that Sakakibara and Shingo, they would definitely want to see that. Now,
so you would shelve Horiguchi until New Year's for the trilogy? Okay, because remember in your interview with Shingo, he did say that they were good. That's one of my favorite parts, obviously, is that he said they were going to continue doing Grand Prix, 100%. That's definitely in RIZIN's future. So, and to me, there's enough time left in this year. There's 6 months. They could start the 8-man Grand Prix in like September or something and finish it up in New Year's. But if you want to wait until New Year's for Pettis, the trilogy with Pettis, then I guess that's totally fine with me. Because what else do you do with Horiguchi? There's really, a bunch of other rematches with Oji Kubo and Shinryu. I don't think so. I think the trilogy is next if you're not going to do a Grand Prix. What about you, Daniel? What do you think?
First and foremost, I have a highly doubts that Pettis can make 1-5 because he was much bigger than Horiguchi. So if you want to do the trilogy, they have to fight in bantamweight like they did last weekend. But for what to do with Horiguchi? We have June right now. If Horiguchi will appear in the stateside and will fight in Bellator, because not in PFL, because basically PFL doesn't have a bantamweight or flyweights. For Bellator, they can make some single fights for the flyweight, but more likely if they will give him a fight before the New Year's Eve, they will give him a fight in bantamweight. But it's very hard to predict what's next for Horiguchi. Until the New Year's Eve, I believe that RIZIN can make a good contender for Horiguchi. It's a half of a year. It's even more than half of a year. So let's go.
I see. So, overall thoughts about the fight. Actually, no. So, overall thoughts about the fight. Let's just say if Horiguchi doesn't get the opportunity to fight Pettis again next, will he defend his RIZIN flyweight title before the year is up?
We don't know. We like Daniel was saying. What about his contract with the PFL tour? Will they make him fight over in Bellator again? We don't know. It's up in the air right now. Same thing with Pettis. But I thought it was a fantastic main event. Horiguchi got avenged the L, got this, secured the victory like he should have in the first fight. And Pettis, I want to make sure to point this out about Pettis. I was loving the way that he adapted to the superior rule set. That stomp looked fantastic. And every single jumping kick that he threw, those jumping spinning kicks, was getting oohs and ahs from the crowd. So the Japanese crowd loved him. And he was saying afterwards he wants to come back to Japan. So, I'm all for that. I can't wait. If he's got to go fight in PFL Tour or Bellator again, then do that. But then definitely bring Pettis back no matter what, even if it's not for the trilogy. But I think that the trilogy should be next. And Jay Chris, like you're saying, if you want to shelve him or wait until, to make that for New Year's Eve, then do it. And Daniel, if you're saying that Pettis can't make 125 pounds, he was saying himself he can make 125 pounds. He just needed more time. But if he can't, then just run it back at bantamweight. Put the title on the line, because there's the bantamweight strap is open right now since Kaya Sakura signed the UFC. Right, he vacated the title. So hey, that could be right there. It could bring Gucci 2 belts back. He'd be a flyweight champ and the 135-pound champ if he beats Pettis in the 5 and make it 5 rounds with Pettis. I mean, that could be a New Year's Eve thing right there. So a bunch of possibilities, but we'll see what happens.
I see. Andrew was basically putting out a point saying Pettis versus Takizawa.
Okay, yeah. I mean, whatever gets Pettis back in the Epic RIZIN ring on a superior rule set, because he really showed a lot of I'm telling you, that stomp looked fantastic. It was that close to landing. So, I mean, if it had landed, that would have been a sensational stomp knockout. And, I mean, it would have gone as viral as the spinning back fist knockout. So, just bring Pettis back ASAP. You know, we don't know. Same thing with Horiguchi. We don't know what's going on with their PFL Bellator contracts, if they're going to make him fight overseas again, or if they're going to let him fight right away again in RIZIN. So we just got to see what the future brings.
Oh, yeah, of course, exactly. Now, second fight I want to talk about. I mean, the second of our double main event on this fight card. Clever Koike Earps submitting Juan the Spaniard Archuleta 2 minutes, 8 seconds of round number 1 via heel hook submission. The former RIZIN and KSW featherweight champion getting the job done in submitting one of the now former top names in Bellator, who have now since switched over to the superior rule set. And before I even talk about what was transpiring, I mean, I just gotta ask straight up. This for Archuleta is now what? Let me go ahead and check. This is now his second straight loss. He lost to Asakura. He lost to Asakura on New Year's Eve, and now here we are about 6 months later, getting submitted by Clever Koike Earps. Is the pressure really getting to him to, continue performing well in big fights? Or is it just getting that time to, basically hang up the gloves, which I don't think he'll be doing anytime soon?
In my opinion, he should go back to the bantamweight as soon as possible. This is the first thing, because Kleber looked much bigger. I know that Archuleta many years ago was the triple champ of King of the Cage in bantamweight, in featherweight, and in lightweight. But it was many years ago. Archuleta is something like 37 or 38, and he is closer to the end of the career. And if he wants to,
actually 36, by the way.
Oh, okay. I've missed with the with his age, but actually, my opinion is that he still can perform on a high level. This loss doesn't mean that doesn't change anything, because it was in featherweight with great submission specialist like Kleber Koike, and from the other hand, it was just huge mistake of Archuleta, because he took down Kleber. He was much smaller than Kleber, and Kleber did his job. And that's all. And as I said before, he should go to the bantamweight, and I think it's very possible for him to fight for a title once again soon, because there's no rankings in RIZIN, but in some kind of virtual rankings, I think he's very high.
Well, that and the fact that it would probably be a lot for him to drop back down to bantamweight, especially considering the last time before this fight he was set to fight at bantamweight, he missed weight. But when it comes down now to the current circumstances, I mean, obviously, Kai is going to be fighting in the UFC, and Archuleta is a former RIZIN bantamweight champion, but you also got Vince Morales wanting to fight for the title. You also got all these other fighters that want to fight for the title. I mean, do you think that people would want to see? I mean, obviously, we we people on the other side of the Pacific Ocean, the Americans, we don't care either way. We just want to see somebody be a champion. But do you think that the Japanese fans would want to see Archuleta become a champion in RIZIN again?
Yeah, the fans love him. I mean, he just this time he didn't do a walkout like we thought. I mean, it was we were predicting that he was going to do a badass walkout, and there's going to be there's going to be two of them on this card, and none of them happened. Spike didn't have a walkout, and Archuleta didn't have a walkout. But I mean, on this bout right here, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, it was a submission of the night. Fantastic performance by Kleber. But what the heck was Juan doing taking him down in the first round? Why would he? That was like, I mean, on all the previews that we did, we were like, Juan, Kleber is one of the nastiest submissions Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighters in the game. Like Daniel was saying, is a submission specialist. And like Daniel was saying, this is up at 145 pounds instead of bantamweight, 135 pounds. Kleber was bigger than Juan. And it's like, what the heck are you doing taking down one of the most dangerous Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighters in the game in the first round before any kind of perspiration has happened, when you're, not even a little bit slippery or anything? It's like, why would he do that? Well, why would he not follow? Obviously he didn't listen to our previews, because we all told him the game plan should be the same as like Patricio Pitbull. And just keep him on the feet, use your defensive wrestling, keep it on the feet, avoid the sneaky trips of Kleber. Keep on the feet, counter wrestle, and outstrike him and get that win. Possibly knock him out, get the finish, or at least get the decision win for outstriking him. It just, I don't know. It was just so baffling to see him getting just the first round take. I just couldn't believe when it happened, and you knew as soon as he took him down, Kleber just went to work immediately and just show why he's one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighters in the game today. I think Drew was saying on the We Are RIZIN podcast that he is the best, even better than Satoshi. I don't know if I agree with that, but he's definitely one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighters in the game, and he showed exactly why right there. And to Daniel's point, this was 145 pounds. We need to make sure to emphasize that Juan was moving up in weight, like you were saying, Jay Krish, because he missed weight in his previous one. So, and he's 36 now. Maybe. Is that weight cut even possible anymore? Because when you get older, it's harder to cut down. So, I mean, I don't know. Next fight, do you keep him at featherweight? Do you try to have him go back down to bantamweight? I don't know. I kind of like Daniel's idea, because like we're saying, Kai went to the UFC, and we're going to talk about that after we finish breaking down all the fights. But that left the bantamweight strap is up for grabs right now. So, I mean, and Juan could be, since he was the most recent title contender or title holder, maybe drop him back down to bantamweight, try to regain that title would be, the best course of action. But we'll see. I mean, and to answer your question, to finish it off, answer your question, yes, the Japanese fans would love seeing him as the title holder again, because they absolutely love, you look at his Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts, stuff like that. The Japanese fans really embraced him. They, in his last fight, even when he missed weight, it really brought the dog out of him, and he was trying to kill Kai in that fight. So he's got it in him to make the fight exciting. So it's just, I mean, I'm excited to see him fight again. I know the Japanese fans will be as well, and we'll see what happens, if it's going to be at 145 or 135. So that's the real question going forward. What's he going to do? Is he going to try to stay at? But I just could not believe he went for that takedown in the first round. That was just, man, that was a huge mistake, and that's what cost him. That was the mistake that cost him the fight. So that's what it was. But credit to Clef.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, and Andrew put up a nice little valid point here, and I think he says it well. Getting submitted by Kleber Koike is nothing to be ashamed of, but when it comes down to it, I mean, to be honest with this, he should have known going into the preparation of this fight not to go down on the ground the second that fight went to the ground in the first round. And unfortunately, it's like the whole playing with fire, bound to get burned type of analogy. I mean, I think if that fight would have, I think if Archuleta would have never done that, he would have been coasting his way to a decision win or a late round knockout.
Yeah, because he was winning on the feet, right? Before he went for the takedown, he was. I mean, it was not that long of we didn't have that much time to see, but it looked like he was going to be able to get the better of the striking with Clever. So it's like I don't know, it just a huge mistake that cost him the fight. I still can't believe he did that. He should have taken the Patricio pound for pound pit bull game plan to keep it on the feet and outstrike him, because it seemed like it was working. And if you're going to go for a takedown, at least wait until like the second or third round when you got some perspiration, so you can get a little bit slippery. It might escape that, but it was just sensational finish by Clever.
I see. And
no, Clever don't deserve no time. I mean, we were just talking about this in the RIZIN Discord last night. It was just.
Did you see the post-fight speech that Clever laid out to Chihiro Suzuki? He obviously wants another crack at Chihiro.
Yes. He as soon as the fight was over, he starts. Chihiro was ringside. He goes over and starts smack talking him. Chihiro gets up, jumps up into the ring, and they were face to face. That actually was a fantastic moment of the night, and talking smack to each other, saying that they're gonna fight. I'm sure they'll fight again eventually. But look, Clever this is his first win, and it was over a guy moving up to featherweight. Right, this is a win over a bantamweight, and he's just coming off of, in his previous fight, Kanehara defeated him fair and square, unanimous decision. So it's like, he should at least have to, get that win back over Kanehara. I don't think he should just go straight from losing to Kanehara to winning over a bantamweight to getting a title shot. Right, I mean, he should have to prove that he can even make the featherweight weight class again. Because he had a problem missing weight before. That's how he lost the title. So, and in the RIZIN Discord chat, like we're saying, In Spirit Kid was cooking last night, coming up with scenarios, which there should be a featherweight Grand Prix to decide the number one contender. And the first round matchup could be Clever versus Kanehara. So, because Chihiro right now he's booked solid. Like, we're going to talk about after we break down the fights, but the announcement was Chihiro's going to fight Pac-Man in a boxing match. And then he's got to do his a knockout kickboxing title defense. And then hopefully by the end of the year, they're going to do Chihiro Patricio pound for pound pitbull super fight rematch. So, I mean, there's time. Clever should have to fight another fight, at least one more, a true number one contender against a featherweight contender this time before he gets a title shot.
I think you're outright ignoring Andrew here, because Clever did beat Saito last, Jay. So.
Oh, it wasn't. Oh, so Kanehara was 2 fights ago. Well, still, I mean, he should have to get that win back over Kanehara, because Chihiro Suzuki, his most recent title defense was Kanehara, and that's Clever's got to prove he can beat Kanehara, I think, before he gets a title shot, or at least a featherweight. Not a bantamweight moving up, even though Juan was the bantamweight champion still.
Yeah, but then again, Saito is a former champion, as Andrew states.
Yeah, from a long, long time ago, and it was on a skid, right? So it's like, I mean, well, not a skid, but he has multiple losses since winning the title. So it's like, I don't know. It just, I don't think you should give Clever the immediate title shot. I mean, but Chihiro's booked up anyways. He's booked up, so it's got, there's plenty of time to do a true number one contenders fight. Or what I was thinking, what I would like to see, so In Spirit was cooking up last night in the RIZIN Discord chat. It's a lot of fun. Everybody should join. Was a featherweight Grand Prix to decide the next number one contender for Chihiro's belt. Maybe have it accumulate at New Year's Eve for the final, and the first round could be Clever versus Kanehara. As one on one side of the bracket, so, and there's a bunch of other featherweights too. King Silo in the Discord, he put up a list of all the different featherweight contenders that could be possible, right? I mean, there's so many other ones to fight Clever. Kolesnik was one of them. Vugar Karamov will be another one. I know you guys are saying that Vugar's in Azerbaijani jail, but I mean, we don't know that. We don't know what the details are on that. Daniel, do you know any details on Azerbaijan situation with Vur Karimov and Tawfiq Musayev and all of them? Do you have?
To be honest, I don't know the I don't know the details, but I know the place where all the things happened, and it was during some local MMA event, and everything from what I heard and saw, everything started from from some problems of coach of the Azerbaijani team, and then everyone went into the brawl, and but I don't know the much details about the updates about their situation, their current situation. I have to say about Suzuki that this year he will have at least until the end of the summer he will have more exhibition boxing matches than actual MMA or kickboxing fights, because this month he is fighting at Knockout Super Bout Blaze 2024, and in the main event he is boxing with Takanori Gomi, and in July he is boxing Manny Pacquiao. So he is becoming a boxer, exhibition boxer so far. Instead of fighting in MMA or defending his title in the knockout promotion.
Now, come to think of it, and before we move on, Daniel, I would just like to ask, do you think that we will see Kleber Koike versus Chihiro Suzuki one more time for the featherweight title before the end of the year?
I believe everything leads into this situation that they will try to fight once again, because their first clash had two issues. Kleber won kind of very fast, but he did not make weight. So they have it was no contest. So they have some kind of unfinished business. So I think it's very likely that we will see a featherweight title match with Chihiro and Kleber once again, but if they won't do any sort of the Grand Prix. In this case, it will happen later, but I think it's most likely scenario that they will have a rematch this year.
Okay, fair enough. Now,
J. Chris, before I move on from the Chihiro thing, like Daniel was saying, he's got two exhibition boxing matches, but there's also the we got to talk about the elephant in the room, or I should say, I mean the super fight rematch with Patricio pound for pound Pitbull. That could still happen. We don't know what that hasn't been announced or nothing. That could like we were talking about in the RIZIN Discord with In Spirit. He was saying, to make that in. Well, go ahead.
If we can see that potentially happen, I mean, if it does, the PFL may just let it happen. But I think if it were to happen, we would probably have to be sitting on the back burner for it. We would probably have to wait a little bit because of everything transpiring with Chihiro Suzuki versus Takanori Gomi, with Chihiro Suzuki versus Manny Pacquiao, and with Chihiro Suzuki versus Kleber Koike Part 2. And now Andrew is saying nobody wants to see that fight.
Bullshit, Drew. Get that lies out of here. Everybody wants to see that fight because Chihiro knocked out, first man to knock out Patricio pound for pound Pitbull, sensational knock, upset of the year last year, arguably knockout of the year last year. But go watch the highlight. Patricio's head bounces off all the ropes on the way down. A sensational knockout. And the stars have aligned for that bout to happen this year. Chihiro just defended his title. Patricio pound for pound Pitbull just defended his title. The stars have aligned for it to come to fruition. And, like In Spirit was saying in the RIZIN Discord, what if they do it, if Don Davis doesn't fumble and lets it happen, what if it happens in September? And then for December, New Year's Eve, Chihiro faces the winner of Ren versus Mikiru. That would be a sensational freaking, that's the ideal scenario for me. So
Now, obviously, you should be looking at Daniel's comment right now.
you mean Drew's comment?
No, wait, Andrew's comment. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he just bought her because he knows that it's true that Kleber should have to prove he can beat Kanehara first before he gets a title fight, and that would be a sensational first round matchup in a Grand Prix. So, I mean, just I don't know. Kleber should have to prove he can make weight again because he barely made weight this time. He was like at the exact limit of making weight. So it's like, dude, can you imagine going into the fight again and he misses weight again? That'd be, dude. He should have to prove he can consistently make the 145-pound weight limit. And the Japanese fans, I want to say this too. I was seeing after the bout, the Japanese fans, a lot of them were saying they wanted Bugar Karamov next. Bugar Karamov. So, I mean, we got to find out what's going on with him, and have them, Kleber and Bugar face against, maybe put them in the Grand Prix opposite as a bracket. Who knows? I mean, just so many scenarios, but the Chihiro Pitbull super fight rematch, that's got to take priority. The stars have aligned for that. That's got to be the number one priority over, giving Kleber a shot after beating a bantamweight.
Fine, of course. But let's go ahead and move on because we already talked about it. Let's talk about Chihiro Suzuki versus Manny Pacquiao, which is going to happen at Super RIZIN 3 coming up on July 28th. Now, as far as this fight goes, it's a bit weird because Manny Pacquiao never even entertained the idea of wanting to do exhibition fights, and now here we are, well over, 2 years after the first Super RIZIN with Mayweather knocking out Mikuru Asakura. Here he is fighting. I mean, here comes Manny wanting to fight Chihiro Suzuki, but also the thing is, from an ESPN report from Mike Coppinger, there's also a report saying that Manny Pacquiao was set to fight Mario Barrios out of San Antonio in a future fight card, in a future PBC fight, future Premier Boxing Champions fight card. But now, this fight, this exhibition may be deemed as a little tune-up for Mario Barrio. So I gotta ask first you, Daniel, and then you, Jay Wolf. What are your overall thoughts about this? I mean, do you think that this fight should actually be treated with the highest of profiles? Because, of course, this is Manny Pacquiao we're talking about. The most obviously a complete homophobe, but also one of the biggest boxing legends of all time. And before I turn the floor to you guys, City Life Project says, what's up?
What's up, City Life Project? Aisha. Oh, man, fantastic. Well, everybody go check out their shows. It was a pleasure being on yesterday on the Rush City Fight Show. So that was, it's great to have him here. And just fantastic podcast, fantastic show, fantastic fan as well. So, and don't worry, Aisha, we're City Life Project. We're going to get to the KS Dub collaboration news that was just announced today. And we got Daniel here to break it all down for us, our Polish expert on the Polish MMA scene. So as soon as we talk about the Kowalczyk fight, I'm sure we'll get to that news right now.
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. But after we talk about this fight here, Manny versus Chihiro, and of course, Andrew basically saying there was so much coverage on it on ESPN. Not. But also,
we're talking about that was for Money Mayweather versus Pac-Man 2 was going to get the ESPN coverage. Dude, get him out of here, man. Drew just hating.
My opinion on the recently announced boxing match. First and foremost, I'm not a huge boxing fan, and putting it in somehow MMA cards isn't my favorite thing in RIZIN, and that whole Floyd Mayweather's issues are not my thing personally, but if it will be going, I will see this with some kind of interest. There's kind of hard to tell what Chihiro can do. I think that his fight with Gomi will answer some questions about how he's feeling in under the boxing rule set, because it will be the boxing exhibition as well. And if he will, we know that Gomi has a good boxing skills that he shown against Tenshin. Of course, they are totally different, from totally different weight classes. But still, I think he can make some, upset still against Chihiro, because I don't think that Gomi will beat Chihiro. I don't know, to be honest, if there will be a scorecards, but he can make some troubles, him for sure. And then a month. It's not even a month later. It will be 2 weeks later. Chihiro will go against Pac-Man, and I can't tell you what I can expect, because I think we can expect everything. Actually, the next thing is if it will bring the foreign attention of RIZIN, this matchup with Manny Pacquiao. I don't think. Not that I don't think so, but I can't really tell you, because we could see that the previous Floyd Mayweather matches made some buzz, but not that big as we could expect, and as RIZIN would expect.
Okay, and obviously Andrew is basically saying at least Manny knows Chihiro's name, at least. Unlike Mayweather, what he did with Mikaru, the press conference made me look forward to it. Though a no contest, if it goes on 3 rounds, is bullshit. Also, Chihiro's getting fined 700 million yen if he kicks Pacquiao.
Interesting. Well, I actually love this announcement. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw what Baragoat was Sakaki Barasan, the CEO of Epic RIZIN. I call him Baragoat because he's one of the goats. But he was saying after this is that this is going to be broadcast live in the Philippines, and it's going to draw massive attention and Asia, not just the Philippines. So this is huge for their Asian expansion. Could we see a RIZIN Philippines show in the future? I mean, hey, that could be a possibility. So it's like this, but to me, look, like Daniel was saying, Chihiro's going to be boxing Gomi, and that's at the end of this month, right? And then Super RIZIN 3 is a month later on July 28th. That's when he's facing Manny Pacquiao. So he's going to be boxing 2 boxing exhibitions within the span of a month. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Gomi's obviously the litmus test. And then what if he looks good against Gomi? And then what if the unthinkable happens and he actually knocks out Manny Pacquiao? Manny Pacquiao's old now, right? He doesn't have I mean, that would be so huge in the boxing world. And, remember on New Year's Eve, Manny Pacquiao got in the ring and he was hyping up that they were going to do an exhibition later on. They're working on the Mayweather 2 rematch, right? Maybe that is still a possibility in the future as well. Because Manny Pacquiao at the press conference on Monday, I'm sure we'll talk about this towards the end of the show when we talk about the announcements and stuff. But Manny Pacquiao was talking about, how great of a promoter Sakaki Barasan is, and how great of a promotion RIZIN is, and how he wants to fight more, not just this fight. He wants to come back to RIZIN and fight more. What if that could be the RIZIN Philippines show? I mean, that could be a future show right there, a future international show. So I think it's people are hating on it because it's exhibition, but we got to see how it plays out first. Chihiro could surprise us. I mean, he was already busting out, fantastic clips and quips at the presser, saying that, everybody's writing him off, stop talking negative. What if he does it? He's going to show, Manny Pacquiao was talking about, he's going to show him how boxing really is. And Chihiro's like, oh no, you know what? I'm going to show you what MMA striking really is all about. And this, to answer your question, what you're talking about and what Daniel was talking about with the Mayweather and the exhibition of Mayweather and tension and that. This one, Manny Pacquiao he's not as Mayweather was bigger than tension. Chihiro is a little bit bigger than Pacquiao. So, there's not the size differential this time in favor of the boxer. The size differential is in favor of Chihiro. I mean, people are kind of overlooking that little minor aspect of it. So, it's just so many. I think it's a cool announcement, to be honest with you. I can't wait to see how it plays out. It's going to get attention because it's Pac-Man, especially in the Philippines. But we'll see how it goes. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I bet it will be awesome. But then again, you also have to play into the fact that Pacquiao hasn't been knocked out in almost 12 years since that devastating KO he suffered to Juan Manuel Marquez at AT&T Stadium in Arlington.
Well, how old is he now? Remember, because Patricio pound for pound Pitbull had never been knocked out in his career either.
Let me go ahead and rephrase that. That was in Las Vegas when Marquez knocked out Pacquiao. But still, though, Pacquiao is 45 years old, about to be 46.
See, dude, I know you said he hasn't been knocked out in a while, but 46, that's over 45. I mean, and Chihiro has proven knockout power. The first man to knock out Patricio pound for pound Pitbull. And so he's got devastating power as a striker. What if we see the upset here? Well, that would be so huge. That'd be massive. So, and what even if we don't see a knockout, what if Chihiro does better than people are expecting? And even though it'll be a no contest, what if he wins a decision? Or at least has a good showing in the decision. So many things that could play out here positively for RIZIN and Chihiro. So it's just, I just can't wait to see what's going to happen.
Well, Andrew is calling out your bluff, Jay, saying Manny is one of the greatest boxers of all time. At 90, he beats almost anyone across the ring from him.
There's no doubt Manny Pacquiao is one of the greatest boxers of all time. Arguably the greatest offensive boxer of all time, especially for the lighter weight divisions. Or I should say not arguably, one of the inarguably greatest offensive boxers of all time, especially for the lighter weight divisions. But, dude, 46, that's come on, you guys. That's old. That's, anything. You guys aren't 40 yet. Watch what happens when you hit 40. It's like a freak, dude. You thought the cliff that you when you hit 30 was massive. Wait till you get to 40, bro. You guys don't know yet, but you'll see. So 45 could be even. For just in combat sports, boxing is no joke. It's just we'll see what happens, but it's going to be interesting. Let's put it that way. I just can't wait to see.
Two more things for me. RIZIN Philippines with Pac-Man in the main event sounds really good, but they would have to, sign more Pinoy or Philippine fighters, especially from Team Lakay. And we know very well that majority of Team Lakay is signed with one championship, so I don't think it would be that easy. But my second observation from that whole Manny Pacquiao thing is that he seems to be much more easygoing than Floyd, because especially during the first encounter in RIZIN of Floyd Mayweather, he and his whole management seems to be abnormally asshole. With that, that fleeting tension of the fine. If he will try to kick and the couple other things, I hated this kind of attitude. And Manny Pacquiao seems to be much more easygoing, as I said before. About the potential fight of Naoya Inoue in RIZIN under the boxing rules. I think it would be hard because RIZIN doesn't have. I think that RIZIN doesn't have any promoter license in Japan. They would have to have this kind of license, like in every country that has a sanctioning body. So I think it's right now it's only a dream, but who knows in future? But I very doubt in it.
Yeah, but Daniel, here's the thing. I mean, it's like Andrew was saying in the
This,
comments.
yes, yes, this.
Lloyd, because that attitude that you hate is pretty much why people hate us now, and by us I mean Americans, of course, because we always come with a little too much extra swagger, extra braggadocio, extra just things, extra baggage, so to speak. But in
No,
the
not
case,
always. Not always. Look at Spike on the card. He's American.
yeah,
Fans embrace him. Same with Juan Archuleta.
still
I mean, it's
don't.
like it's not always.
Go ahead and continue my thought, Jay, and continue Andrew's comment. Manny won't arrive. Manny won't arrive late to the arena and won't make everyone guess when he's coming. And then obviously the City Life Project is just being joking. I mean, obviously, have you seen Ren Hiramoto? He uses swagger. We will get to that about the Super RIZIN card in about a month. But still, though, point of the matter is, Manny Pacquiao is he's the epitome of respect, aside from his out-of-the-ring exploits and him being a homophobe and just outright being disrespectful to certain groups of people. But, yeah, in the ring, he's one of the greatest of all time. And I think that when it comes down to the build-up before this particular fight against Chihiro, you're going to see probably the best of Manny versus probably the best of Chihiro, even though Chihiro is going to be locked into exhibition boxing for the time being and kickboxing as well. And also the City Life Project is saying, when is RIZIN going to outbid Top Rank for anyway? Doubt he's ever going to come back to the States. Yeah, right. I don't think that's happening, dude. I'm sorry to say it. I mean, I do not think that's going to happen because I think that, Top Rank, even at its worst, probably has more money and prestige than RIZIN at its best. I hate to say it like that, but it's proven to be true.
And they would never let their top star in Inoue go. That's for Top Rank. He's arguably one of their biggest, if not the biggest star, especially international. So they wouldn't. There's no way they would let him. They would let someone else outbid them for him. But I mean, hey, you never know. They paid millions for Floyd Mayweather. So, I mean, what happens when his contract is up? That'd be a huge gain for RIZIN if they could score Inoue. And like Daniel was saying, it's got to get. If they were going to get the boxing promoters license to do Money May Pack 2. Why not also get it to do an Inoue match? It just that'd make a lot of sense as well. So we'll just see what the future plays out. We don't know, but yeah, in the short term, I don't see him leaving Top Rank either. I agree with you guys.
Yeah, of course. But still, though, I just think this fight is hopefully going to garner enough eyeballs over in Asia to get the world talking about it, especially over in North America where Jay and I are, and in Europe where Daniel is, right?
Oh, it'll definitely for Asia, it's going to be massive, especially for the Philippines. It's going to shut down the country, even though it's an exhibition. And, I think it could really lay the inroads and groundwork for a RIZIN Philippines show in the future. And like Daniel was saying, a lot of Philippine mixed martial arts guys are in one, but there is still some that they could sign, and who knows what the contracts will be like if they'll still be fighting for one at the time when RIZIN does a Philippines show. But really, this could be the start of something big internationally.
Philippines. Andrew is saying RIZIN in Cambodia first.
Sure, RIZIN or go to invade one territories. Singapore is a big one. I mean, obviously Thailand. I mean, there's plenty of places in Asia where they could invade, but Really, I think the start should be the Philippines if they're going to be showcasing Manny Pacquiao like this, especially if they're like Sakaki Barasan was saying, this is going to be broadcast nationally in the Philippines live. So it's to me that's just saying that they're laying the groundwork to go there eventually in the future. So it's going to be huge for Asia, obviously. I hope it gets some attention here as well, and it will if Chihiro does better than expected, but we'll see.
Well, it will, but obviously and I know the talking heads will not see RIZIN in the positive light that they should get. I mean, obviously, considering the fact that everybody here has an opinion, especially when it comes to sports from Stephen A. Pat McAfee.
Well, they'd be if Manny loses somehow, they would definitely be forced to talk about it. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And yes, they will, Drew. Quit hating. Drew's hating, man. Quit showing his comments. He's just a hater.
Yeah, of course. And by the way, before we continue, again, shout out to Combat Sports Today. And,
Dude, Combat Sports Today, everybody go follow them. Fantastic show. They're fantastic Twitter. I mean, they were breaking all kinds of news today about the Buakaw is the wild card in K1 and the big KSW collaboration news with RIZIN, and Invicta getting their new TV deal and stuff. So Combat Sports Today, thank you for listening, bros. It just, great program, great account.
And before we talk about the news of KSW and RIZIN getting together, I mean, obviously Andrew was asking, is MMA PL covering, either Manny versus Chihiro or even RIZIN in general?
The other site is covering this, not MMA PL, because I did only live results, nothing more. And if I want to do this, no one will do this. But I'm not writing regular news anymore, because I don't have a time, and you don't want to make some work that you won't get paid for. So I'm doing just barely minimum to just make any coverage.
Yeah, of course. And with that, we get back to the fight card. Because
hey, Daniel, are you getting? We want to make sure to give you a congratulations on just getting married. Does that have anything to do with you doing less coverage?
I was during the post wedding week, so I had to just make a comeback to the reality after a couple of days more of celebrating. So yes, but right now I'm very happy to be with you and just live my normal life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just want to give you a big congratulations on getting married, bro.
Thank you very much.
But let's go ahead and get back to the card. And obviously the reason why people are caring about the KSW versus RIZIN news, in my opinion, the Polish Hammer Przemysław Kowalczyk defeated Mikio Ueda via first round submission due to an armbar, 2 minutes 6 seconds. Well, 2 minutes 8 seconds. And by the way, Andrew is basically cracking a bottle of champagne for you on this one, Daniel. But still, though, point of the matter is Kowalczyk beats Ueda via first round armbar, improving to now 4-0 with 4 first round finishes. I mean, as I said in private with you earlier today, Daniel, with the whole news now official, KSW and RIZIN basically working in tandem together, do you think that if this fight would have been a loss for Kowalczyk, that this deal would not happen?
Yeah, I don't think so, because as I wrote before on the Discord, it's like it was like an occasion to make some talks, and I don't know how it's been, but first and foremost, Kowalczyk isn't yet a KSW signed fighter. because KSW make a recommendation for RIZIN from the management agency that they are cooperating with. And this is the whole connection about Kowalczyk and KSW and RIZIN. He is not yet, at least yet, because he doesn't know what will happen after the fight in RIZIN. He doesn't know where he will land, possibly in KSW, but it's not 100% yet because he did not sign anything yet.
Mm-hmm. I see. But other than that, what were your overall thoughts about your countryman's performance against Ueda?
I think that the plan was very simple, just to take the fight down as soon as possible. He did it very well. He made all the points from the game plan. He controlled Ueda all the time after the takedown on the ground, and he did his job. Anything, and that's all. Not much history behind this fight because Ueda did barely nothing. He shown literally nothing. He couldn't do a thing on the ground against much bigger Kowalczyk because Kowalczyk is a natural heavyweight. Miki Ueda is not a very big heavyweight, like almost every Japanese fighter from the heavier categories. It's very bad.
I see. And come to think of it, now that I have this comment outlined here, obviously, Jay Wolf, what were your thoughts about this particular fight? The news of KSW and RIZIN getting back in touch together, and from your point of view, just how bad is the Japanese heavyweight division?
Okay, I'll address all those. I mean, first of all, this fight was awesome. One of my favorite of the nights because Kowalczyk, the Polish fighter, came in there and he was throwing grounded knees. One of the few superior rule set action of the night that we got to see. I mean, I think if he kept it up, he could have got a grounded knee finish. But just super impressive, just totally dominated Ueda. I mean, wouldn't even let Ueda get off any striking. Just took him down at will. And just, I was loving seeing him adapt to the superior rule set with the grounded knees to set up the finish. It was just great to see. And, leading up to this fight, Kowalczyk was on everything that they were tweeting with Sakaki Barasan was tweeting about it. And every time the RIZIN official accounts would tweet about Kowalczyk, they would always say that he was a KSW fighter. Like they were teasing the KSW collaboration news was coming. So, like Daniel was saying, that he was a recommendation from KSW, and we got to see now if, is he going to fight in RIZIN again, or is he going to go back over to KSW? Or are they going to? Is he going to sign officially with KSW and fight over there, and then maybe come back over to RIZIN afterwards? Or how's it going to be? Because the news today about the KSW collaboration is like now official, and it even seems like it might be deeper than a collaboration. It might even be a co-promotion status because, like the Combat Sports Today accounts were tweeting, fantastic, a fantastic account, fantastic organization, Combat Sports Today. Everybody go follow him. Izzy Doa, one of the members of Combat Sports Today. A guest on the Focus Fight shows before. Can't wait to talk to him again. Fantastic people, fantastic fans, and but they were talking about that it could also be a potential talent sharing with KSW as well, which is huge. It's huge, and like in the City Life Project right there, bring it up exactly. Aisha, I mean, another fantastic account, fantastic show organization, the City Life Project, and Aisha. Just, everybody go and follow him as well. He was talking about today as well, listing out all the different collaborations that's happening with Bellator, KSW, Road FC, Bare Knuckle, BKFC. I'm sure we'll get into more of that after we finish the breakdown of the fights, but there's absolutely huge huge. They're really putting the federation in the RIZIN Fighting Federation. It just getting back to how it was when it first started. I absolutely love it. And to get back to as we were saying about Phil DeFreeze, yeah, dude, we could totally see that. What if that is what is going to be happening? Because they need heavyweights to face Phil DeFreeze. What if what if Kowalczyk is going to be going over to KSW now? And if he's not going to face Phil DeFreeze immediately, what if he probably is going to have a fight in KSW first and then challenge Phil DeFreeze? Or what if Phil DeFreeze comes over to RIZIN and fight? I mean, there's just so many possibilities now with this KSW collaboration being official, and not just a collaboration, co-promotion, talent sharing as well. I cannot wait to see it. Cannot wait to see more fighters can be coming over. And Daniel, I think you're the one that tweeted it, or maybe it was Combat Sports Today, tweeting about the potential super fight matchups with even Chihiro versus the new featherweight champion that KSW just re-signed, Parnassi, I think it was. Just, I mean, so many cool possibilities with this. KSW is one of the biggest promotions in Europe, and they got, especially for the heavier weight divisions. And to get back to your original question about the state of Japanese heavyweight, it's always not been the top ever since the Almighty Pride SC days, right? It was dominated by foreigners or outside Japan, non-Japanese, right? Of course, obviously Fedor Emelianenko, the GOAT. Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, Big Nog, Rico Krokop. It's just like, even before, like, Igor Ice Cold Volchanchkin, right? I mean, just that's how it's always been for heavyweight. It's just, but they do have contenders. Ueda is still young in his career. He can go back to the drawing board. Obviously, he's got to train some wrestling, and Sudario was looking very promising, obviously, as well. I mean, he can go back. He's still young as well, too. So they got some prospect guys coming up. It just, I mean, so many, dude. I don't want to write them off and say that the Japanese heavyweight scene is just total trash. It's not. They got some guys coming that could be making some noise. But traditionally, it's always been dominated by foreigners. But it's just, that's the way it goes. I mean, heavyweight's a tough division, you guys. It's not like, I mean, it's just, but I just can't believe the KSW collaboration or co-promotion news. It's just so huge. I absolutely love it. It just, man, it's just so freaking awesome. And Daniel, do you have any other like, do you have any kind of insider info about the nature of the talent sharing process aspect of this collaboration news or co-promotion news with KSW?
Today I saw only that.
Also,
okay.
Down to it, Andrew also sent a question to you, to your way, Daniel, saying, did Koval say anything interesting in his post-fight comments? Because of course he was speaking Polish.
To be honest, I didn't say anything particularly interesting, but also did not pay much attention to the post-fight comments. Maybe he said something, but majority of this was like just thank you to everyone. He really appreciated the atmosphere of the Japanese MMA and RIZIN as well. And I think that's all from what I saw and remember. I think I can take a look on what he said, but I wouldn't expect much with this. About the heavyweights, I would say that it would taking Phil DeFreeze to Japan would have any sense if RIZIN would do their rematch with Josh Barnett, but under the MMA rules. That we know that they've been fighting at KSW Epic show, but it was under the grappling rule set. And any other opponent for Phil DeFreeze, if it would be a Shoma Shibisa, if it would be a Mikio Ueda, if it would be even a Sudario, I think it wouldn't make sense, because any of them would be outclinched or Phil DeFreeze would make a lay and pray. So I wouldn't be much excited by any of these matchups.
I see. And before we can
Bubr
continue,
kurwa.
let's just
Because Andrew wanted to
let's
say
go
wanted me
ahead
to
and say it right now. Field the Freeze would destroy Taka Kenshin. It's no point in even making that fight happen.
Yeah, he's making joke comments. Go back to Aisha's comment, City Life Project's comment, talking about how huge that this is actually massive news, and he's 100% correct that KSW could this collaboration, co-promotion, talent sharing is 100% going to help the RIZIN's heavyweight division, and I mean, and Sudario, you know, I know but he could come back and he wants to fight foreign fighters, right? And KSW, the collaboration KSW could totally help build him up and do that. And maybe Sudario could eventually challenge Phil DeFreeze for the title. I mean, it's just there's so many different, and you know, if they don't bring over Phil DeFreeze Japan, but I love that idea of doing a Josh Barnett on a Superior Rules set in Japan with Phil DeFreeze. That'd be sensational. I mean, just there's so many possibilities. It's so fun to think about and fantasy matchmaking, speculate on what could happen. It's just huge. It's huge news, and I just can't wait to see what the future is gonna hold, gonna bring. It's just awesome.
Well, as you can basically see the comments scrolling by, they're talking about that Augusto Sakai fight that Field DeFreeze just had. I mean, I think Sakai pretty much got screwed over.
Well, I mean, it's I don't know. Sakai, like look, Like Pride was talking about, Sakai didn't get one takedown. I mean, it's like it was a close fight. I wouldn't call it a robbery. It was a close fight. I thought Phil got it. To be honest with you, because I mean, Phil's a champ, and Sakai really didn't do enough to beat the champ. You know, it's like I don't know, and you know, I trust what Aisha's saying, the City Life Project, because he's you know. He's a Phil DeFreeze fan. Like he's like the main conductor of the Phil DeFreeze hype train right now. You know, and if he's saying that Phil DeFreeze won, then that's what happened. Okay, he's the authority on what happens in the Phil DeFreeze fight, as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, I would love to see the collaboration. I can't wait to see what the collaboration is going to be. How it's going to play. If they're going to bring Phil over to Japan. If they're going to bring, what's going to happen with Kowalczyk. If Kowalczyk's going to go back to KSW, I would like to see Kowalczyk back in RIZIN. I was loving how Kowalczyk was utilizing those grounded knees. I mean, obviously, I know you guys saw that. That's how he set up that finish. So it was just, man, Kowalczyk was very impressive. And Daniel, you said in his post-fight comments, did he say anything about coming back to RIZIN in Japan, or did he say he's going to Poland next for KSW, or did he not say anything about that? Just was thanking everybody.
I don't know. To be honest, haven't seen anything like this.
Okay. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen in the future. But Kowalczyk was just fantastic performance, total domination of Ueda, and just like the City Life Project saying, there's already another contender right there. If KSW brings him over, he would love to see Kowalczyk versus Phil DeFreeze. And I'm sure that's what is possibly going to happen in the future. That's probably it was after it was such an impressive performance. I'm sure KSW is going to bring him over, and if not, put him against Phil DeFreeze right away. Give him a match in KSW, to get him acclimated to the KSW audience there in Europe, and then put him in a Phil DeFreeze match. We'll see how it plays out. But whatever happens, I want Kowalczyk back in the Epic RIZIN ring because he showed he knows the assignment, you guys. He showed on his first fight, only his fourth professional fight, he already knows the assignment in the Superior Rules set and was throwing grounded knees. You bring him back 100%.
Yeah, let's go ahead. I mean, but since we already talked about this fight enough to the point where we have now more than tripled the actual time of the damn bout, let's go ahead and move on and talk about the fight that kicked off after the intermission, and that was Razabali Shadulayev submitted to Takeda via rear naked choke, 4 minutes 43 seconds of round number 1. in the featherweight division at 146 pounds. I mean, you talk about all these fighters coming in from Europe. Oh no, Phil DeFreeze versus the midget who got the head kick, no knockouts.
Dude, quit showing us joke comments. This is a serious show here.
Come on, Andrew. Zip your damn pants up. Nobody needs to think about your freak show fight boner.
Yeah. Don't quit your day job, Drew. You're not a comedian.
Yeah, but still, though, let's go ahead and get back to the actual train of thought that is the RIZIN 46 fight card. And let's talk about this imported featherweight knockout between, as Razabali knocked out Takeda, submitted Takeda. Not knockout, submission. But yeah, Razabali, the Eagle, submitted Takeda. And I think we're now, obviously, and we're going to talk about the Doubtbet Seiki fight as well. I mean, you know what? Fuck it. It's my show. Let's go ahead and talk about this in full. You got Razabali Shabdulayev submitting Koji Takeda via first round rear naked choke. Then also you got Karshiga Doubtbek returning to RIZIN and knocking out Tetsuya Seiki in the first round with a body blow. I mean, do you think that these two fights, and I'm going to go ahead and put up Andrew's comment back up, do you think that a Shabdulayev Doubtbek fight would feed families in Europe, so to speak? Because I think that with the way that you got all the push behind Razabali in his first RIZIN fight, and let's just say he knew the assignment, and you got Doubtbet coming back to RIZIN after a 6-year break. I mean, these two guys are really cooking up some shit that basically everybody want to eat off of. And obviously, going back to King CeeLo's comment from last night on the Discord, he did say that these two men are two of the guys that are going to probably potentially vie for the RIZIN featherweight title down the line. So, Daniel, I want your thoughts about a potential Shabdulayev Doubtbek fight, and also talk about their two wins separately. And then, Jay Wolf, you can have your comments.
Of course, it would be a very nice idea to match them up. Maybe, I don't know if they would fight for, potential title eliminator, but still there's a lot of fun matchups to do in the RIZIN featherweight division. Don't forget about Ilham Nazimov. Don't forget about Viktor Kolesnik. I'm talking only about the foreign fighters in this division. About their respective fights, it's very, I would say, easy for both of them to finish their opponents. Especially, I'm impressed about Shaidulayev, who puts Takeda almost to sleep. I don't remember how long it took Shaidulayev to just tap Takeda out. Especially that Takeda was a top dog in a RIZIN lightweight division not long ago, and in the featherweight, I wouldn't say that Takeda is making a difference right now. I wouldn't say this.
Okay, and Jay, your thoughts about the potential of these two fighting, and your thoughts about their wins on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love Daniel's comments right there, bringing up all Kolesnik and Nazimov and everything. Let's talk about Aisha's City Life Project's comment. So giving a big shout out to Daniel and all the work he does. Just want to make sure we read that and Daniel is acknowledging him as well. Right there. So a huge shout out to Daniel and all the work he does for Polish MMA and come on the show and contributing. It's just a pleasure to have you, Daniel. And to answer your question about Shaddai was beyond impressive. Takeda, like Daniel was saying, Takeda, a veteran of the lightweight division, a full division up, and he had looked good in his previous featherweight bout. And when it was featherweight debut, I guess he looked good, made it the whole 3 rounds, plenty of gas, so he was looking good. And this kid Shot Alive, one of the hottest prospects, one of the biggest signings of the recent, new era of RIZIN, just came in there and just absolutely dominated him. And got, do you see how it started off as like a one-arm choke originally, and then it moved into the regular, rear naked choke. But it was just, dude, it was sensational to see. I'm beyond impressed with Shot Alive, and I was loving how you guys were talking about, all the different featherweight contenders, besides just Outback. And I like Aisha's comment, Steve Life Project's comment about, how that would be a good matchup, but if he thinks that they should both, get another matchup first before, there it is right there, before, they should get another fight before fighting each other. Because, if you match them up right now, it kind of like kills one prospect off, basically. You know what I mean? But we were talking about this also last night in Discord, like you guys were saying. And this is why a featherweight Grand Prix decide the next number one contender would be fantastic. Look at all these big names besides just Outback, besides obviously Shot Alive. And, what if you want to fast track Shot Alive? Why not put Shot Alive and Kleber for the title next? You think that's too fast for Shot Alive? I don't know. Based on this performance and the skills that he's displayed against a veteran like a tough veteran like Takeda. I mean, Takeda he's no joke, and to just get in there and just pretty much dominate him like that. That was beyond impressive by Shot Alive. And Shot Alive, he was moving up from bantamweight, wasn't he? So I mean, dude, it's just totally impressive. And I was seeing that he can fight at both weight classes apparently. So if he's gonna do that, hey, that could be a contender right there for the bantamweight title. And he's still young, right? Let's see. How old is he? Yeah, he's not even. Dude, he's only 23, about to be 24. So he's prime time to be. If he can still cut down to make bantamweight, I think he should go down to bantamweight and challenge for the bantamweight title while he's young enough to make the bantamweight weight class. I think that would, especially now that it's vacant with Kai moving to the UFC, I think that would be a prime situation. And you could easily fast track him to the title if he can make bantamweight. But if not, you're going to keep it featherweight. All those names Daniel was talking about, we were talking about earlier that Kleber needs to face somebody like, Kolesnik or Karamov. There's so many guys at featherweight. That's arguably RIZIN's best division. So, and since Chihiro is booked up solid right now, it'd be perfect time for a Grand Prix, guys. It'd be absolutely perfect time for the Grand Prix. All those names you're talking about would make a perfect 8-man Grand Prix to decide the next number one contender to Chihiro's title. It's just so fun. I love this division. I love what Shot Alive brings in. Totally delivered. Remember they hyped him up before this fight about what a big sign this was. The kid totally delivered, and I can't wait to end. One last point about it. Remember Sakaki Barasan was saying that the region where he's from, Azerbaijan, and that's going to be where possibly the next international event is. He name dropped Uzbekistan, and even before RIZIN 47, I was reading that he was saying that Sasahara, the number 3 at RIZIN, was saying that Sakaki Barasan had gotten calls from the Uzbekistan prime minister talking about bringing the prime minister of Uzbekistan was talking about bringing RIZIN to the country. So it's looking like, on Drew's show interview with Sakaki Barasan, that was one of the places he name dropped specifically for our next international show was Uzbekistan, along with places like Saudi Arabia and the Middle East and stuff. But it's looking like Uzbekistan might be the next international event. So if that happens, Shot Aliyev, Doubtbeck, all those guys, Nazimov, I mean, dude, all those guys, Tarimov as well. I mean, and if the Azerbaijanis can get out of Azerbaijani jail or whatever's happening with them, dude, they have a potential for a massive international event in Uzbekistan, and with guys like Shot Alive as well. I mean, just so much potential there. I absolutely love it. It's fantastic. And I cannot stress enough how impressed I am with this kid. It's just awesome.
Yeah, sure. And as you can plainly see, the comments scrolling on by, still saying, "Hey, it wouldn't be a We Are RIZIN podcast or a podcast with Jay without mentioning Grand Prix." I love it.
Oh, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. And Jay Chris, it's a perfect time to give you another shout out for the fantastic interview you did with Shingo-san, Shingo Kasawagi, number 2 at RIZIN, and just in that interview, you asked thank you for asking him about the Grand Prix, and Shingo-san directly told you that yes, they are still going to do the Grand Prix. And like you're saying, we don't know if it's going to be this year, but it's probably definitely going to be next year. But there's time to make it happen this year, and the featherweight division is a prime candidate for a Grand Prix. Look at all the names we just talked about with this addition of Shadalayev, if he's going to stay at featherweight. But he can also go down to bantamweight to challenge for the title. I mean, just so many possibilities. I absolutely love it.
I would say with that many great fighters, maybe 8-man tournament would be not too big, and maybe it would be better to put 16-man tournament, because there's a lot of talent in this weight class.
100%.
Of course. Exactly. Especially when you consider the fact that, again, RIZIN doesn't really have I always say that RIZIN doesn't really have the best talent above 70 kilos, 155 pounds. I mean, the same can also be said for below 155 pounds, 70 kilos as well, especially when it comes down to consistency, which is why, of course, as we will probably mention in a little bit, why Kai Asakura is going to the UFC.
Yeah, no, you're right. The heavyweight divisions are still building, but 155 and below, they're very strong, especially featherweight. I mean, just because Kai left for the UFC, I mean, that's we still have, there's plenty of contenders that probably would have beat Kai. I mean, Kolesnik, very strong, dropping out from lightweight. Shadalayev right here. I mean, just a bunch of killers at featherweight. And oh, wait, no, excuse me. Kai's a bantamweight. I'm sorry. But I'm thinking, because I'm thinking that, the report was saying that Shadalayev is able to fight at bantamweight as well. And I'm thinking, since Kai, vacated the bantamweight title, Shadalayev is a prime candidate to drop down and challenge for that vacant bantamweight title. That's why I was thinking that. But just, man, Jay Krish, from 155 on down, it's including the women's divisions, the lightweight women's divisions. Just there's just amazing talent in the Epic RIZIN. It's just awesome. Come on.
I mean, yeah, there are amazing talents, in RIZIN, but obviously, you're going to have fighters basically going on to greener pastures like a Kai Asakura now.
Not necessarily. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But Japan, like Sergio Pettis was saying, he's always wanted to fight in Japan. There's still that nostalgia and for when the Almighty Pride FC was beating UFC's ass and was the number one promotion in the world. And was the destination for where fighters want to go. And it still rings true to this day that all the legends fought in Japan. And if they want to be a legend, they want to have some fights in Japan as well. So it's just, I mean, and we were talking about that on the MMA beat, or the Japan MMA beat with Todd Atkins, about how, we could be seeing that happening in the future. We got to see how big Super RIZIN is going to be. Remember, Super RIZIN is already sold out. With over 40,000, probably gonna be 50,000 by the time it's all said and done. So I mean, it's a big destination for fighters, and we'll see how it goes. But I mean, it's just the future is bright, and I don't want you to write. We'll see how they look with this KSW collaboration that's happening, or co-promotion that's happening now with talent sharing. The heavier weight divisions are going to be filled out here real soon, but maybe by the end of this year. So, and they're still collaborating with Bellator as well. I mean, just dude, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I can see the heavyweight divisions getting stacked and loaded by the end of this year. Remember how they were when RIZIN first started with Jiri Prochazka, Vadim Nemkov, Moldavsky. Just, I mean, come on, don't be writing it off yet, Jay Krish.
I'm not trying to write it off. I'm just saying that they I mean, in order for RIZIN to be serious about the heavier weight divisions above 155 pounds for the men, and I guess if you want to put it that way, at bantamweight, at strawweight, flyweight, bantamweight, and yes, featherweight for the women, they need to really think about getting all those foreign talents that they really need to lure foreign talent in. They really need to think about that. I
They
mean,
will. They will. And huge shows like Super Rising is going to go a long way in that with massive crowds, 50,000 plus, and obviously they're clean up with the pay-per-views as well. So they got money to pay the fighters. They got the massive crowds. The fighters. Look, if you were a fighter, where would you rather fight? You want to fight in the UFC Apex shed in front of 20 people, or you want to fight in the Saitama Super Arena in front of 50,000 people, like the legends of old did? I mean,
the
come on.
answer should be obvious, and if people choose the damn Apex over fighting in front of a packed, sold out Saitama Super Arena, they're cheating themselves.
That's right. That's right.
And you know what? Speaking of Super Rising 3, because we are going to get back to talking more about the fight card in general, because I want to lump up these two American series on the Rising 47 card. But first, let's talk about Super Rising 3 and how that card basically turned out. I mean, Super Rising 3 is going to take place from the stadium version of the Saitama Super. I want to fight in Corpus Christi, Texas. No, you don't, Andrew. Corpus Christi is a wasteland. Well, I wouldn't say it's a wasteland. Professional wrestling fans think it's a wasteland because they don't have any good crowd support. And I just hope that when it comes down to what the Big Fed in Stanford has next week, it'll pop that crowd right up. But yeah, not talking about, McMahon's wasted millions. I'm talking about Super Rising 3 that's going to take place in about a little over a month's time, July 28th, at the Saitama Super Arena, the stadium version of Saitama Super Arena. And obviously, we got a whole bunch of fights that a lot of people are really going to be looking forward to. First of all, the announcements that have just been announced, aside from Pacquiao versus Suzuki, I mean, we got Reina Kubota versus Kate Oyama. We got Hideki Okoro versus Hiroya Kondo. I think that was previously announced. We got the two BKFC fights. The BKFC sweetheart, Charissa Segala versus Ty Emery, the one who flashed her boobs to the crowd. Dotson, the BKFC flyweight champion, facing off against Takaki Soya in a non-title bout that would easily be a damn good MMA fight. And then obviously you got the rest of the fight card: Hiroaki Suzuki versus Ren Yaman Sugiyama in MMA, Ryusei Catfish Ashizawa versus Koji Tanaka in MMA, Yutaka Saito versus Yuta Kubo, which have also been announced, Hiromasa Kubo versus Makoto Shinryu Takahashi, and of course the de facto main event, Mikuru Asakura versus Ren Hiromoto. But still, though, the fights that they announced during the intermission of RIZIN 47, that I asked, first Daniel, then Jay, is what are your overall thoughts about these fights? And I mean, I know that you, Daniel, commentate a lot of BKFC in Polish, but what were your overall thoughts about these two fights in particular, Dobson versus Soya and Emery versus Segala being announced for this epic, and I do mean epic, RIZIN card?
Actually, I had an occasion to do the commentary for the literally one BKFC event as a replacement, but I'm doing a lot of this stuff with BKB promotion, so from the United Kingdom. And I'm occasionally doing the commentary for BYB, Dada 5000 promotion. Yeah.
Promotion based out of South Florida.
Yes, 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 indeed. But these two matchups, from these two matchups, definitely Dodson against Soya looks super fun. But of course, I think Soya won't be a favorite in this fight. Definitely will be a heavy underdog, especially that John Dodson is still current BKFC champion, so he feels under these rules very well, I assume.
Hmm.
But about the female fight, I was a bit surprised why they are placing this fight, and I had to ask you on the Discord who these girls actually are, why they are putting this fight, and why they are putting this fight in Japan. From what I saw, Taya Mary is from Australia or New Zealand. I don't remember. One of these.
If I recall correctly, Emery is originally an Aussie, but she
Oh,
resides in Las Vegas.
oh, okay, but she will. I think she will generate some interest in her homeland,
Well,
and
sure,
hmm?
there's other places she'll generate interest in.
Oh, of course, yes, yes, definitely. She has some account in a blue portal, uh, I would say, which is also a sponsor, proud sponsor of BKFC. We don't have we have to keep it in mind, and even John Dodson was sponsored by OF. So what can I say? Her opponent also is known uh, from some other things outside the ring, but it was inside the ring after one of her fights. Uh, and what I can say, I
She,
don't know why it takes place in Japan, but maybe they are trying to try some things out.
I mean, basically, you can say she gave the crowd a little bit more than what they were asking for.
Yes, actually, yes.
And look at all these comments. Andrew is saying maybe OF can sponsor Ryzen Super Ryzen 3. Maybe this is how we finally get that sponsorship.
Maybe
But
for the BKFC fights.
Oh,
we
and,
have to keep in
and
mind.
let me
Mhm,
go
okay.
ahead and mention real quick that that particular platform, which, oh, by the way, I also have an account on, that platform also sponsors the PFL, Cage Fury, and the promotion out of my neck of the woods, Fury FC. So, yeah.
Let's remember that John Dodson also has an account there, but he doesn't. From what I heard, he doesn't shows his ass, but he's making access from the materials from his trainings,
Mm,
inside materials and stuff like this, because OF wasn't supposed to what it's associated with, but it was like a platform for pay things for things that you are paying for, and it doesn't have to be associated with sex work or something like this. But if you have if you are cooking very well, you can make access to your recipes also on this platform, and it was the initial idea of this platform, and that's what I what I have to say about this.
oh, yeah, of course. Obviously, my comment would basically say, you know, respect the grind, so to speak. Or,
Yeah, don't hate on him posting nudes. Ty Emery's got some good ones, and OnlyFans serves a purpose for sure.
Okay,
But
but
that'd be interesting to see if they sponsor the bare knuckle fights in Japan. That'd be I mean that'd be kind of big news. I mean, another sponsor added to the long list of them. So and we'll see how that goes.
but then again, you have to also think about it. This would be, I mean, if they do end up getting sponsored by that particular platform, it'll be their first American based sponsor because, of course, we all know Yogi Bowl, they used to produce beanbags out of Rhode Island or something here in the States. Now they produce them solely out of Tokyo.
Oh, okay. So, but yeah, that'd be another reason why it'd be big news. First American sponsor. I mean, I could easily see it happening, especially for the bare knuckle fights that are gonna be on Super RIZIN 3. I mean, that's
overall, Jay. What are your thoughts about the fights that were announced during the intermission of RIZIN 47, real quick?
Oh yes. Okay. So, are we still gonna talk about the stuff after the fight? We finished going through the fights too, as well. But anyways, to answer your question. Yes, the announcements. You know, I was kind of with Daniel. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw when it was happening live. They were kind of a letdown because like the biggest announcement that was teased that's going to be game changing or whatever was Kai going to the UFC. And it's like, well, I mean, they didn't even get like a trade or nothing. Like, I saw some Japanese commentators say that they possibly saw Figueroa, the former UFC flyweight champion, in the audience. And there was speculation that what if they had traded, and got a former champion for Kai, and just that didn't happen. And it was just I thought there was gonna be some bigger news that happened. Like I thought they were gonna officially announce Patricio and Chihiro, the super fight rematch was gonna be happening, but maybe they want Bellator, PFL to announce that since the fight be happening in September in San Diego. But I was thinking if it was going to be happening for New Year's, they'd announce it. But I don't know. And then they announced Pac-Man Chihiro, so there was some Chihiro news that was announced. And then for the Reina Kubota fight, Striker Queen Reina, Shootboxing Queen Reina. I mean, that was huge. And if you remember from the previous shows, that was one of the ones that word on the streets was going to happen that came true. So and remember. It was initially supposed to be Reina versus Izawa, Sika Izawa, the atomweight champion. But Drake Riggs, MMA Mania guy that does Broad Horizon, fantastic work, fantastic journalist. He let us know on the RIZIN Discord that Izawa has an injury. That's why it wasn't Izawa. She has an ankle injury right now she's recovering from. That's why they brought in Kate Lotus from Deep to challenge Striker Queen Reina. And I think it's going to be a very good matchup. I like it because they're both beautiful women. You already see Reina's letting her hair grow back out again. So she's just gorgeous women. And Reina is one of my favorite. Reina is my favorite female fighter because of her style. As she has not only beautiful looks, but a beautiful style of fighting. She's a striker, and she has. I say it all the time, and it's 100% true. She has one of the nicest, most beautiful flying stomp techniques. I mean, her stomp technique is so good. I want her teaching a seminar on how to stomp properly. She should go around all of Japan's MMA gyms and teach seminars on how to do stomps because it's just gorgeous. It's the most best. It's not since Shogun Hua have we seen stomps like the ones Striker Queen Reina throws. It's just that's how gorgeous they are. So it's just I love her and just I can't wait to see her fight. And Kate Lotus, bringing Lotus in, that's a nice matchup for out of the Super RIZIN 3. And then the other announcements that were was they did the bare knuckle boxing. It's going to be on Super RIZIN 3, and like you already said, Jay Chris is going to be John Dotson and Ty Emery, and that's actually that's big news as well. I don't want to say, but we already knew about that before. That's why I was saying I agree with Daniel about the announcement kind of being a little bit of a letdown. But really, if we didn't get the announcement spoiled beforehand, they would have been huge announcements, right? Besides just Kai going to the UFC. So and John Dotson, of course, he moonlights in both. He's known to the RIZIN audience because he fights. He's fought in RIZIN before. And he's the bare knuckle boxing champion. He moonlights back and forth between the two. So and the bare knuckle collaboration is also I would call it a co-promotion as well because they're also doing talent sharing as was announced with KSW today. So we could see guys like Eddie Alvarez come over and fight, and they're not just going to be doing bare knuckle fights. Let's put that out there right now. They're going to be doing possibly mixed martial arts fights as well, superior rule set fights. So we can see guys like Eddie Alvarez cross over and face and fight in mixed martial arts as well against some Japanese fighters. And and they were asking me on the Rush City Fight Show with Aisha, the City Life Project, Rush Hour Show, Jay was asking me what are some fighters that you can see, bare knuckle signing and then bringing over to RIZIN. And the big one that I would love to see was Robbie Lawler, because the comments were saying they're in talks right now to sign Robbie Lawler to fight Mike Perry. And if we can't get Mike Perry to come over because he's got felonies or whatever, then then Japan won't let him in for we can't get a waiver for him or whatever. What if they sign Robbie Lawler? I would love to see Robbie Lawler on the Superior Rules set. Are you kidding me? Another huge free agent that's out there right now. What about Gegard Mousasi? What if he wants to get a bag from bare knuckle, and then if through that signing comes over to the Epic Rising Fighting Federation, comes back home to Japan? All these guys, it would be, dude, it's just gonna be awesome. So, and then like you're saying with Ty Emery, go ahead. What?
I mean, in the case of Mousasi, it would be a proper introduction to the, RIZIN rule set. And oh, by the way, Todd Atkins is joining us. How are you, sir? Thank you.
Oh, what's up, Todd? Yes, that's who we were shouting out about, the Japan MMA beat that we were just on. Jay, Chris, you and me. Everyone go check out Todd Atkins and the Japan MMA beat. Just great show, and that's what we were discussing is about the bare knuckle collaboration now, and we can even have another show with all this news breaking about the KSW collaboration, everything. I mean, so much cool stuff. Yes, thanks, Todd. The Superior Rules set, and since we're there, make sure remember when we're talking about the Superior Rules set. Instead of soccer kicks, call them grounded kicks from now on, please, to help with the legalization effort in America that Shingo-san was talking about on Jay Chris's interview with him on Focus Fights, right here on Focus Fights. So, of
course, you do mention that, the BKFC partnership could lead to more old head mixed martial artists who basically got into BKFC because they wanted to experience a different sport. Maybe they might give RIZIN a try and say, hey, I want to get back into MMA again. This is how.
Exactly. Because why not chase as many bags as possible, right? I mean, why just collect one bag from BKFC when you get another bag from the Epic RIZIN? You heard Sakaki Barasan said.
Same thing with KSW and RIZIN.
Yes, thank you, exactly. And thing about KSW is similar to RIZIN. They're both can be successful on pay-per-view. RIZIN is the most successful, obviously. Sakaki Barasan said they're clearing 300,000, 500,000 pay-per-view buys every single show, and they're selling out every single arena they go to. So they're cleaning, they're going all the way to the bank, bro. They're breaking the bank every show. So it's just, I mean, the opportunities are there, the bags are there for the fighters, and I was asking on other shows about Luke Rockhold, and because he's not exclusive to Karate Combat right now. He's fought in bare knuckle before. What if he comes back and then comes over to RIZIN? And that brings up another point real quick. Anderson Silva was supposed to have a boxing match, right? And he didn't say he's going to retire after that. He did not say.
I think in the case of Anderson Silva, he's supposed to have that fight with Chael Sonnen this weekend. Problem is, we can't watch it.
Well, what happens after that fight? What happens to Anderson Silva after that fight? Remember a while ago he was talking about how he wants to have one more mixed martial arts fight, and he specifically said he wants it to be in Japan? I mean, dude, hey, right there, you guys. I mean, Anderson Silva in Japan, Luke Rockhold could come back with BKFC and come over to Japan and that fight was supposed to happen in UFC. So, I mean, why not in the Epic RIZIN Fighting Federation in Japan? So many possibilities by these collaborations. So that, I mean, the announcements during the intermission, they were huge announcements, but we had just known previously, we got wind of some of them beforehand. That's why they're kind of a letdown. But it just, and I guess, do you want to say it for after the show? I mean, after we finish breaking down these fights about Kaya Zakura going to the UFC, yes, let's do that. Let's get back to the fights because it's getting late for Daniel. I know Daniel's getting ready to crash here, so he wants to go to bed. So we got to get through these fights.
Question from Andrew on the, Manny Pacquiao Chihiro situation. Do you think if Kanehara were to beat Chihiro, we would have been talking about Kanehara versus Manny? I mean, let's be real. Two old men fighting. I mean, as long as they're not leaking plasma all over the place, that would have been fun. Yet the North American fans probably wouldn't have wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, well, look, first of all, no, it's kind of hard to not beat. Chihiro beat Kanahara fair and in impressive fashion, I might add. So let's just get that out of the way right there. So that's hypothetical scenario doesn't even matter. It's Chihiro versus Pac-Man. But if it was Kanahara, they probably would have gone with something else. They probably would have held off on Pac-Man or given him a different guy. Like, I mean, maybe they would have waited until to see the winner of Ren Hiramoto and Mikira Asakura, since Asakura had already had a previous exhibition with Floyd Mayweather, right? So that's probably what would happen with Manny. They would have waited till to see what would happen to Super RIZIN 3 before they, did another exhibition with Manny. But that doesn't matter. The hypothetical situation doesn't matter because Chihiro beat Kanahara in impressive fashion, defended his featherweight title, and he's the one fighting Manny Pacquiao next.
Yeah. But again, Andrew is saying North American fans don't want this fight either.
Yeah, get his hater comments out of there, man. Don't even post his hater comments no more. Yes, we do, Drew. Gosh, get over it. And yes, if it would have been Manny Pacman versus Floyd Mayweather 2, that would have garnered ESPN attention. That would have commanded ESPN attention. And who knows? This might get some ESPN attention too, because it's Manny Pacman Pacquiao. And we know it's going to be huge in Asia and especially the Philippines. But it could get some boxing attention over here as well. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay. So now we've already crossed the 2-hour threshold. And again, we started late. We apologize. But still, though, let's go ahead and try and put another 30 minutes on this damn thing so that we can, close it out before 8 my time. So, let's go ahead and talk about the two the two lightweight fights where Americans or American-ish fighters dominated. And that the Alpha Ginger Spike Carlisle submitting Kyung Pyo Kim, the Red Horse, via rear naked choke 1 minute and 11 seconds into round number 3. Carlisle did not come into the fight basically with an anime get up, popping out to the sounds of Hikaru Utada, or, basically just acting a fool. He came out to one of Fedor's old themes, I think Error, that damn song, basically came out as serious as he could be for that particular fight. But still, though, he came out serious, defeated Red Horse, gave praise upon high and all that. And he said that he would like to continue fighting in RIZIN. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, Noah, came out all full of his usual candor and stuff like that, beat a pretty much worn out Johnny Case. And I'm not going to say worn out outright because he just came in. He came in missing weight. And that's something you don't want to do in the RIZIN ring at all, or any Japanese promotion, because if you win, it's pretty much a lose-lose situation because your fight gets overturned to a no contest automatically. But still, though, Noah defeated Johnny Case when Case was at less than 100%. And when it comes down to this particular fight, when it comes down to these two fights, which one did you think was more important for career progression? Spike Carlisle defeating Red Horse Kyung Pyo Kim, or now 3-3 Noah defeating Johnny Case?
In my opinion, the Benoah's fight, Benoah's win was much, I would say, more important for him. Because he was 2-3, and this is the biggest win in his career so far. But from the other hand, I have much issues with the decision, because before this our broadcast, I have rewatched this fight, and I will tell you this. In the first round was great round by Case. The second round, I think he was controlling the things majority through the majority of the round, and in third round, okay, he got gassed. I would say he was much worse fighter than Beinoa in this third round. But in my opinion, Beinoa did not do enough to steal this fight, especially in the first round. Because in the first round, Case had multiple takedowns with a control, and first and foremost, he had a knockdown. In the third round, he also had some takedowns, but he couldn't control Beinoa, and Beinoa was going up immediately. So, in my opinion, I can't get the decision. I can't agree, but answering your question, I think the most important was the another green square for Beinoa, and it was, as I said before, it was his best win in MMA career, of course.
I see. And what were your thoughts about the
Spike Carlisle?
Young Pyo Kim?
Oh, Spike shown a lot of character, but he clearly was losing this fight until the backpack and then the rear naked choke. I was pretty sure that Kim will win this. I was not sure if he will finish Spike, because Spike is goddamn hard to finish, because he couldn't even he didn't even tap during the fight against Satoshi, and it was like a very big comeback for Spike Carlisle in this fight, but Kim was still better fighter until he got a backpack and the rear naked choke Mataleo.
Understood. And Jay Wolf, your thoughts about these two particular fights? I mean, first of all, your thoughts about Spike Carlisle beating Kim Pyo Kim. Second, your thoughts about Beinoa beating Johnny Case.
I love these fights, and this is featuring my American fighters. Absolutely loved it. And the Spike Carlisle fight, like you guys were saying, he was losing that fight. He had damage. This is another thing I wanted to make a point about this fight, is that Spike Carlisle was cut and was bleeding. And there's another point I want to make about the BKFC collaboration influence. They're getting more, in the past, that fight might have been stopped because of that cut with the blood, right? But since the BKFC is getting them more acclimated to blood, now, and since they're not on Fuji TV, they don't have to worry about censors or anything like that anymore. They're letting them bleed. And the BKFC collaboration is going to really get them, toughen them up to allowing fighters to bleed like they should, like it is in the UFC. That's how it should be. And, this one, I just love seeing that. Spike Carlisle, super tough fighter. Like Daniel was saying, impossible to finish the guy, just a ridiculously tough fighter. Love watching him fight, especially in Japan. Brings it every time. And this fight, though, Kyung-Po Kim was he had a couple inches on him and reach and height and everything. So he was a bigger fighter, and he had momentum on him too. Kyung-Po Kim was coming off a couple wins, and he also had a road to UFC experience, a winning road to UFC as well. So I mean, this guy it was his fight to lose. Spike was coming in on a couple fight losing streak, and was obviously, since he was a smaller fighter, was having problems getting to, and Kyung-Po Kim was just staying on the outside, like it caused damage on his face with the striking, with the blood and everything. But credit to Spike, man, just persevered in that third round, just jumped on him, and just went for the kill and got it, bro. He put it on so tight. Kyung-Po Kim was out before he hit the ground. He was out cold. I mean, it was awesome. Every finish on this RIZIN 47 card was awesome. And, Spikes, I just love to see it, love to see him get back in the win column. The Japanese fans love him. And you know, it was weird. This was one of the fights where he did not. One of the only fights where he did not come out with an elaborate walkout. Him and Archuleta. It was like maybe they're just waiting now for the New Year's Eve shows to do elaborate walkouts. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Yaman's on Super RIZIN 3, and I'm pretty sure he's going to have an elaborate walkout with dancing girls and everything like he always does. So we'll see how that goes. But it was just real, different to see Spike not have an elaborate walkout. I'm sure he'll do it again in the future. Now he's back in the win streak, but he was like all business on this one. So, and he took care of business in impressive fashion. That was a huge win, and just, man, I was just so happy to see it. And now on to the Bay Noah fight. This fight, we got to give the background of this fight, okay? Bay Noah's coming into this off of putting on a snoozer performance to where he was being punished in this fight. Case was brought in to beat Bay Noah's ass and punish him for putting on a boring fight in his previous fight. And, no, did I say Johnny Case or I say somebody else? Anyways, it was Johnny Case was brought in to beat Bay Noah's ass.
And go off of this. Johnny Case was supposed to have been punishment for Bay Noah. Unfortunately, yes. The only punishment that Johnny Case put himself in by missing weight was a lose-lose situation.
Right. No, he had to get the finish. Otherwise, it was going to be a no contest. It was going to be a no contest anyways, and he got the finish. But to basically win the fight, he would have to finish no matter what. But anyways, he was brought in to punish Bay Noah for Bay Noah's previous performance being kind of a snoozer, right? And I mean, Sakaki Bara-san was lambasting Bay Noah after his previous performance. Just, I mean, it was funny. I think they even showed it on the VTR. They were like showing Bay Noah all the comments that were just trashing his performance, saying how boring it was and everything. And I think they were really trying to light a fire under Bay Noah and let him know. And Sakaki Bara-san said, "Hey, you got to bring it your next fight, otherwise you're going to be cut." It's like, so Bay Noah he had to come in this fight, put on a good fight and showing he's got that warrior spirit and to go out on his shield if he was going to lose. But hey, dude, Bay Noah, I mean, like Daniel was saying, the first round, Johnny Case was, got in some takedowns, but Bay Noah showed excellent growth in his takedown defense and stand-up ability. His counter wrestling was very impressive. Johnny Case had his one in particular I was really impressed with. Johnny Case had his back and was about to lock up a rear naked choke, but Bay Noah was able to power out of it and get back to his feet. Very impressive growth because remember, Bay Noah is a kickboxing crossover. He is a former RIZIN champion crossing over to mixed martial arts, and this was like his 6th bout, I think it was, in mixed martial arts. So it was to take on a veteran like Johnny Case. That's what we're saying. Johnny Case was brought in to just beat Bay Noah's ass and punish him. This is a punishment fight for Bay Noah, and he flipped the script. Showed incredible growth with his defensive takedown defense and his defensive grappling and stand-up ability. Just very impressive on that. And the third round was clearly Bay Noah's, right? And the way Japanese MMA scoring is scored as a whole. It's not round by round. So even if Johnny Case won the first 2 rounds, the third round was so strong for Bay Noah. I completely agree with the decision because, arguably he also this comeback started in the third round. Yes, Johnny Case got the first round, but then he started to slow down in the second round, and Bay Noah started to pick it up, and really in the third round, really completely just was piecing them up. So it was. I had no problem with that decision. I was a very impressive win by Bay Noah, and I can't wait to see him fight again. I mean, we were giving him shit for coming over to I think it was AT&T or AKA. Thank you. Yes, and train with guys like Khabib and all of them, and we were because in his previous fight it was like, well, what was all that training for? You didn't do nothing. But this fight really showed exactly what that training was. I mean, like I can't emphasize it enough. His defensive wrestling and stand-up ability it was so impressive against a tough veteran like Johnny Case, and just it showed exactly what he was learning at AKA with Khabib and all them. So it was just very impressive performance by Bay Noah. And some people said it was kind of lackluster, but if you knew the backstory, it made it just the fight more exciting. So so I thought it was a very huge win, both for Spike and Bay Noah. Huge wins to get back in the win column. So I loved it, both fights.
I see.
Do you think that he did enough? Bay Noah did enough to take this fight?
Yes, I believe because fights are scored as a whole. Remember, it's not round by round. So Bay Noah, he started to come back in the second round, and then the third round was a complete wipeout for him, just absolutely piece Case up, right? So I believe that was enough because Case did not have a near finish in the first round. Yeah, he had takedowns and dominant grapplings, but Bay Noah was able to reverse each one of those and prevent the rear naked choke, near finish, everything. So yes, I believe that Bay Noah did do enough in this fight. As we have seen before in previous fights, I'll just bring it up. Takeda versus Rabadanov, right? At the New Year's Eve. Remember? He had a super strong. Rabadanov had a very strong first round where he even got a near finish with a grounded knee and everything. And then Takeda came back and won the second two rounds with grappling, but it wasn't it wasn't enough in the scoring as a whole to give him the fight. But this fight it was sort of similar, right? The first round was dominant for Case, and then the other two rounds was a Bay Noah. He started to come back in the second round and dominated the third round. But there was no near finish in the first round by Case to where it would that's why they didn't give him the fight like they did Rabadanov over Takeda. So yes, I agree with the decision 100%, Daniel. It's not we did enough in the second round and especially the third round. So it was a fair decision for Bay Noah and very impressive, I might add, for just he was supposed to lose and he didn't. He flipped the script and said, "Oh, this ain't no punishment fight. This is a showcase fight for how much I've grown as a fighter."
Well, of course, Andrew has to chime in and say, I agree with Jay, as well as how many times we do see fights under unified rules of Fighter A wins round 1 and 2 to take off round 3. This is a great example of why RIZIN's judging is superior.
Wow, an actual positive comment from Drew. I'm loving it. Oh, thanks, Drew. I'm glad you're getting out of your comedian mode and getting into serious comments. Great comment. 100% agreed. And that's why it is. As part of the superior rule set is the different judging it as a whole, and that's why I believe it is superior. And but he might have even won under the unified rules because. That second round, Daniel, you're saying that Case won more in the second round than Bay Noah did. But Bay Noah did have a good comeback towards the end of the second round. So, I mean, it's just, but for sure, the fight scored as a whole in a superior rule set, I believe Bay Noah won that fair and square in a very impressive fashion.
Maybe I need a rewatch, but in my opinion, Bay Noah in the second round was only circling the ring and low kicking Case. But that's what I'm talking about. When you have a fight judged as a whole, and firstly you have a dominant grappling in the first round, and you are dropping your opponent in the same round. Your opponent has to just make similar impact through the whole first and third round. And in my opinion, in my eyes, Bay Noah didn't do enough. But okay, maybe it's some kind of nuances to just of this RIZIN's scoring system, and it was not enough to take the fight and have nothing on the line of damage, because we have a damage generalship and maybe third criterion of scoring. Okay.
Yeah, but Case didn't do any damage either. He didn't score a near finish like Rabadanov did with Takeda, and that's why they gave him that fight for just winning the first round. So that's what I think the difference was, Daniel, is because Case did not get a near finish, even though he won the first round. and the second round was, kind of a toss-up. And you're saying that Bay Noah just did low kicks, but low kicks still score, and that really contributed to why Case was slowed down so much in the third round. And he really got he got pieced up that third round for sure. There's no denying that one, and that's what I think won Bay Noah the fight. And but we can agree that's no problem. It was a close fight either way. So was it a split decision or was it unanimous decision? I can't remember right now.
Unanimous.
It was unanimous? Okay.
I think so.
I think that was because, again, there was no near finish in that first round for Case. If there had been, it would have either been a Case win or a split decision for Bay Noah. So but since it wasn't, Bay Noah, was dominant that third round. I think that's what won him the fight, gave him the unanimous decision. So, but anyways, impressive performance by Bay Noah and Spike Carlisle. Both were just, especially due to the background info coming in that fight.
Yeah, of course. And now, even though we only got a little bit of time, well, I wouldn't say we got a little bit of time left. Of course, we're going to probably run until 7:45 on my end, but still, though, we now talk about the first two fights that were shown on Bima TV on YouTube as well. And those were the prelim fights. Show Patrick Usami not only defeated, he knocked out UFC veteran Kazuki Tokudome in 2 minutes and 29 seconds of round number 1. And King Genji Umeno, a.k.a. Yabaidaro, finally shed off the Yabaidaro image by defeating Mamoru Oi Full Swing in RIZIN's second ever open finger glove kickboxing bout via unanimous decision. Now, when it comes down to these two fights, which one was the more interesting? Because I really don't want to explain them in detail.
It's always the Usami fight, but Daniel, go ahead.
Which one of these two was better and more entertaining?
Yes.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Of course, that the opening fight was better because it finished very fast in a very violent fashion. So I think there's not much to discuss about it. Usami came back to the winning track. Tokudome tried to just be more aggressive from the beginning of fight, but he forgot that he is standing and banging against former Japanese amateur boxing champion. So he tried to exchange the punches and he got dropped and then finished on the ground. The kickboxing fight was kind of entertaining, but it was weird as hell because of Uoi's habits to taking the fight to the ground that he couldn't do because of it was a kickboxing plus elbows, because elbows were very important, had a very important role in this fight, because at least one of the knockdowns that Genji Umeno scored was caused by a counter elbow in a very short distance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the second one.
Yeah, it's okay. Not a lot of people do anyways because of the fact that it was all over. Aside from the fact that it was RIZIN's second open finger glove kickboxing bout, it was mostly overshadowed by Genji Umeno's issues with this group called Hyper Yo-Yo, this female J-rap group.
Oh, you mean Yavai? Yes,
that song, yeah. I was going to say, from the awkward silence, I guess nobody gives a shit.
Well, we're waiting for you to finish your point and throw it to one of us to respond. That's all. Of course we give a shit.
Of course we do. It's RIZIN. We should.
Exactly.
But yeah, Jay, close out talking about this card, with your thoughts about these two prelim fights. Okay,
well, we didn't talk about the Doubtback fight at all. We got to cover that one after this one. You missed that one. Anyways,
talked about that along with the Shadulaya fight.
No, we did not. We did not cover the Dalpek. Only time we talked about Dalpek was matching him up with Shadulev. We didn't cover. Well, we didn't get to talk about the fight. I want to talk about that fight because.
Real quick, since it's obvious you don't really care about the prelims, what were your thoughts?
No, I do. Look, the Usame. I mean, he kicked the card off in fantastic fashion with a sensational knockout, one of the best of the night. I mean, it just over, like you said, a UFC veteran. I mean, that was a great way to kick off the card. Fantastic way to kick off the card. And then the open finger glove kickboxing match. That was, I was shocked at how bigger Umeno was than Full Swing. I did not think it was going to be like Full Swing looked like a full weight class below Umeno. So I didn't think that was going to, like, if I had known that beforehand, I would have obviously picked Umeno to win. But, the knockdown was with like an elbow, kind of it almost looked like a part of a headbutt as well in that knockout. And there was other instances in that fight to where, I mean, there was a low blow and, looked like some headbutting had occurred. And it looked like all that combined looked like it had frustrated Full Swing to where he was like, forget this. I'm just going to waste time and keep going for takedowns, And that's why I think he was doing that, because I think he got frustrated with the size difference, with the headbutts and the low blow. I felt like he just was like, you know what, forget this. I'm just going to go for takedowns, waste time, and get out of this fight as quick as possible. But there were still parts where he was swinging for the fences, like true to his name, Full Swing. So, and like Daniel was saying, it wasn't totally boring, but it just was like, it wasn't like what the first open finger glove kickboxing match was. Maybe they just need to next time to match it up, a little bit, more even a matchup, I guess, at least the size differential. So, but anyways, the first fight, Umeno, Osame, fantastic. Sensational way to kick out the card. Fantastic knockout of a UFC veteran. The Umeno Full Swing, it was, that was the most lackluster fight of the card because it seemed like Full Swing was over it. Just went for takedowns to waste time and gave out yellow cards for it, everything. And just, it was not what the open finger glove kickboxing matches usually are, which is absolute bangers. So, but let's go to the Dalpek fight. I want to hear Daniel's comments on the Dalpek fight as well. Dalpek was another sensational finish on this card.
And talk about the Dalpek fight real quick.
Daniel first or me?
Okay, I can start.
Yeah.
I can remember Karshiga Dalbek from the RIZIN 13 fight. I've been at the arena at RIZIN 13, but I couldn't see this fight, his fight against Mikura Sakura, because it was a typhoon issues, and they have moved the main event, Tenshin against Horiguchi in kickboxing, through the middle of the card, and then they have left 3 last fights after the main event. It was like a postlims, let's say. But later I have rewatched this fight, and I will tell you this. I wouldn't say that this Kazakh fighter would be back in RIZIN and finish the fight in that violent way. It was the time when Karshiga Dalbek was a talent, but you wouldn't say that he will be fighting this kind of style. And it was the times that Mikura Sakura was actually training and was trying to be the best fighter, not be a YouTube influencer celebrity like today. But okay, that's what I wanted to talk about. The change of Karshiga Dalbek through that 6 years. Yes, and that was my main impression from this fight. But of course, that knockdown, and he was thinking that the fight is finished, but referee said there's not yet, not ended yet, and then he finished by not by a punch to the head, but a punch to the liver. So Seki was totally destroyed in this fight.
Right, of course. And Jay Wolf, what were your thoughts about the Karshiga Doubtbeck victory?
Yeah, I mean, Daniel put it great. I mean, the first knockdown. I mean, I was it was look, it was a sensational finish, but it could have been even better. And I was kind of pissed at Doubtback because on the first knockdown, he tried to do a walk away, have a walk away KO highlight, right? But second wasn't finished yet. Obviously, I mean, and it was a golden opportunity. He could, after he rocked him, he could have finished him off with a stomp, and it would have been a sensational stomp KO finish, or a grounded kick finish, right? It would have been sensational, superior rule set finish. But he wanted to try to get the walk away highlight instead, and that was, man, I was upset at that. But then, he came right back. I was like, man, what if he, I initially thought when Sega got up, like, oh man, what if Dalbeck messed up and he loses this? But no, he came right back, finishing with the body shot, like Jana was saying, beautiful body shot, just dropped him. It was an impressive performance by Dalbeck, getting that RIZIN win because the previous RIZIN fight he lost, and another contender there at featherweight. Yeah, it's featherweight. Like I was saying, featherweight is one of their best divisions, not arguably the best division in this Epic RIZIN Fighting Federation, and a prime candidate for a Grand Prix. In no way is, and after the fight, Clever's fight, Sakakibara-san did not commit to give him, even with that impromptu promo with Chihiro there ringside after the fight. Sakakibara-san wouldn't commit to giving him the next title shot, and rightfully so, in my opinion. Because you got guys like Doubtbeck, Shadalayev, I mean, and like Daniel was saying earlier, Kolesnik, Nazimov, Kuramov, I mean, all these featherweight killers that, and Clever had lost to Kanahara. So it's like, dude, there's so many more, and Chihiro's loaded schedule. So, I mean, guys like Doubtbeck just show that there's killers in the wing waiting for, to rise to that featherweight title shot. And, Doubtbeck is a prime candidate now, but I just would have, honestly, if he should have gone, he should have known the assignment better. I mean, even though it was a sensational knockout, knocking him out like that and trying to get a walkaway highlight instead of going for the stomp finish or grounded kick finish, I was upset at him for that. And hopefully he knows the assignment for next time, because that could have been even better highlight than what he got. But still, impressive performance. And like Drew was saying, he wanted him to match up with Shadalayev next, hot prospects, and just that featherweight division is absolutely fire. So no way should Clever get a title shot without having to go through guys like Doubtbeck first, or getting that win back over Kanahara, and just and we'll see what happens with Shadalayev. If he stays at featherweight, he drops down to bantamweight to go for the opening of that belt. Which actually, since we've gone through all the fights now, let's talk about the final announcement that we didn't get to talk about. Start the show.
Talk about this outright, but you know what? I don't know if we can basically, because I don't want this to run 3 hours. I really do not.
It's not. We got through all the fights, and we got through almost all the announcements. The last one we haven't talked about is the Kai Asakura to UFC announcement. That's the only one we haven't gone in depth about. So we can get that done in 15 minutes. Easy. Come on.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this for at least another 10, so to speak. Because I know that we could talk about this all the damn time on the RIZIN Discord, the RIZIN FF Fans Discord, but I just want to get your opinion. Do you think that when it came down to the intermission announcement that Kai Asakura is vacating the RIZIN weight belt to go to the UFC, do you think that it took a little too much away from the fight card? And in the case of his prospects, how do you think, I mean, I can't really ask how do you think he'll turn out, but how do you think that the North American audience will see him?
I would
go ahead.
Okay. I would say that I was very disappointed about how the people says wait for the announcements, it will blow your head away and stuff like this. especially what Shingo said, and I was thinking after that Alex Behunin's tweets about if is it about BKFC? No, better. I said to myself, it had to be some big collaboration of big signing, and it had it turned out to be a departure of the bantamweight champ. So I could feel very disappointed, but later maybe I got hit too much because Alex wrote from the general MMA point of view, the UFC point of view, and he wrote that it's a huge news because RIZIN's so well respected promotions champ going to the UFC, straight to the UFC, and the UFC will try to give him a top 5 or top 10 opponent. And I said to myself, it's kind of respectful because it's not another UFC signing, but the biggest Japanese promotions fighter, and that's why maybe my reaction was too, I don't know, maybe too I wouldn't say too fire in this reaction. It was, but from the other hand, for the promotion, I can get why it's a big thing for Japanese, because their champ is going on a global stage, let's say, and trying to conquer the world, and it will be some kind of inspiration for the next young and maybe that older fighters to just be as good as Kaya Sakura is. But it doesn't make change that I was disappointed, and I was thinking that it will be some kind of different announcements. Of course, I was expecting this because Kai was very vocal about going to the stateside since his last fight, so it's not shocking for me. But the way that people was pumping the announcements, and it turned out to be what we've been talking about tonight.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Daniel. It was, they hyped it up way more than what they should. I mean, part of it could be is that, we already knew that was what we didn't know for sure, but we suspected that was what the word on the street was, is that was going to be announced, right? So it wasn't like a surprise to us when it was announced. So maybe that has something to do with it. Like you were saying, like it was, all the announcements were not as big as we had hoped, or at least not like they hyped it to be, right? Or at least maybe because we had already, suspected that was what was going to happen, so we kind of already knew about them beforehand. But like you're saying, it is, and you said it perfectly too, Daniel. It was huge news, and it's great how it's to answer Jay Chris's question about how it's being received over here in North America and around the world by UFC fans. It's being received very positively. And like Daniel's saying, it's like shows there's some respect to RIZIN as a promotion, and they should, because Kazakura is not the first RIZIN fighter to come to the UFC. Probably the most famous one is Jiri Prochazka. Came from RIZIN as champion, went to the UFC, won top 10 fights, got a title shot, and won the UFC title. And that is directly because he was forged and made in the Epic RIZIN Fighting Federation in Japan. That forged a UFC champion. And, this could be another one with Kaya Sakura. The other fighter that's, famous fighter from RIZIN that came over to UFC and is killing, he's going to be top 5 in UFC, is Manel Kape, or Cop, right? So then this could be who Kai's being brought into. They might do a trilogy bout with Manel Kape because they're 1-1, so they have history there already. And Kape he's at flyweight though. That's the thing. We don't know yet what weight class Kai is going to fight at in UFC. And it looks like, in my opinion, the 125-pound flyweight class has an easier path to the UFC title than bantamweight would for Kai. So if Kai can cut weight, the trilogy bout with Cape is there. I mean, Kai Kara France, who is another Epic RIZIN veteran, is top 5 ranked in UFC right now. That could be, if it's true, like what Daniel was saying, that Alex said, he tweeted that they were going to give him a top 5 opponent first, or top 10 opponent first. If it's going to be top 5, Kai Kara France at flyweight would be a perfect debut to catapult him into a next shot to be for the title. And I think Kai could absolutely could challenge for and win the UFC title. So he's that good of a fighter. And possibly either weight class, but I think it's tougher at bantamweight for him than it would be at flyweight for him. But we got to see if he can make the cut. So, but anyways, to just finish this point real quick so we can close the show out.
Come to think of it real quick, do you think that compared to what Jerry was able to do, he managed to win the UFC World Light Heavyweight title in about his first 2 years in the promotion?
Oh yeah, 3 fights. He was so sensational. They were going to try to slow walk him, but he was so sensational in his first 2 fights actually was back-to-back sensational knockouts. The second one being a knockout of the year candidate with a spinning back elbow to Reyes, and it was so. Dana's like, okay, we can't deny this guy anymore. We got to put him in a title fight right away, even though he was from another promotion, a rival promotion, right? So they gave him the title shot right after that, right away, and he won it in sensational fashion, right?
Okay. Not letting me finish the question. I mean,
okay.
Saying Jerry won the UFC title in his first 2 years with the promotion. Do you think that Kai might be able to do it in his first 5?
Yes. But we got to see what weight class it's at, though. Actually, you know what? For both weight classes, I think you said 5 years. Yes, I could easily see that happening, 100%, for either weight class, whichever one he decides to fight in. And if you give the 5-year limit, even if he loses at one weight class and either drops down or moves up to the next one, he could probably also win the title. And within that 5-year limit, 100%, he's that good. So, but it was great to see. To finish the point real quick about and then we'll get to the closing. It was great to see the North American fans and the UFC fans around the world, like Danny was saying, give respect to the RIZIN Fighting Federation promotion, and really embrace this signing as one of the top signings. And it led to some comical, they were acting like Kai is like the only a star that RIZIN had, and he was selling out arenas by himself and stuff.
I've not seen that MMA guru post. I think nobody should take him seriously.
And my favorite part was he was saying that, oh yeah, Kai is also behind the breaking down. It's like, actually that's his brother, but his Kai Asakura, his brother is Makira Asakura, but that's why I call them the Asakura Action Bros. And Makira is arguably a bigger star than Kai was. I mean, and we got other stars like Chihiro, Ren, Hiramoto, Hagiwara, Reina Kubota. I mean, all these Japanese stars we got here besides just Kai. So it's like, but anyways, look, the comments were positive and respectful to RIZIN, and really shown, and it shows like for UFC, they're going to say they're going to put him in at least a top 10 bout first. Shows they're going to give him, the same kind of respect they gave the Jerry right away. Say, okay, a former champion coming over, we're going to try to fast track him to the title shot. So it's cool to see, and it was great to hear Kai Asakura when he announced the fight. I mean, when he announced the move to the UFC, he really gave respect to RIZIN and especially Sakakibara-san for allowing it to happen, and really really put him over basically by saying, big thanks to Sakakibara for allowing this to happen and allowing me to pursue my dreams. And other fighters are going to see that. Other fighters will be like, hey, because other promotions would not have done this, right? Other promotions would have, especially even like they would have stood in the way and be like, nope, sorry, you're a champion. You got to defend the belt. You got to, we can't let you go. We're going to hold you to the champions clause. All that stuff. But Sakakibara did not do that. Did not stand in the way of these dreams. And I think that's a huge that other fighters around the world are going to see that and go, hey, this promotion, if I make it big in this promotion and I get a huge money offer from UFC or somewhere, they're not going to stand in my way. And so I think that's an underrated part of this announcement is that it's very positive for the Epic Rising Fighting Federation and Sakakibara-san, one of the GOATs, if not the GOAT promoter, greatest promoter of all time, in my opinion. So, anyways, that's why we covered everything. Let's just get into the outros here, because I know we said we were going to cover the other announcements as well at the end of the show, but we already did that through most of the show, right? So let's just get into this 2 hours 45 minutes. Let's just do these outros right here and cap this show off.
Okay, Jay, you basically, let's face it. I'm not going to say you talk too much, but you take over the whole damn show and you basically run the whole damn show long.
What? Oh, come on. No, I don't. Dude, come on. Anyways.
If it was just me and Daniel, yeah, it would feel like a little bit lost in translation, but it would be a much shorter show.
Well, hey, look. When you love something this much, as like I do, the beloved Epic Rising Fighting Federation Superior Rule Set, I can talk about it for hours, okay? And I love talking about it with you guys. I love having Daniel on to talk about the KSW collaboration, Kowalczyk. He has a unique insider perspective on that since he's from Poland. I love talking to you, Jay Krish. I love how you allow us to even go this long and talk in long form on the Epic. I love it. I love the promotion RIZIN. I love the Superior Rule Set, and I love talking to you guys about it. So I could go on for hours. But anyway, look at the banner right here. That's where you can find me in the Discord, on a JWolf1, and then on Twitter at JAYYOLF1. It's misspelled on purpose, and that's what my screen name was from way back in the day on the Yahoo message board, like 06. There's like a million other JWolves. I just misspelled it to stand out. But I'm thinking about I might change it because I saw you could change your Twitter handles. If you change the spelling of your Twitter, you don't lose followers, do you? Or do you guys know?
I don't know. I don't really give two shits about the elongated muskrat.
Okay, well, I might be changing my name to actually be a J Wolf spelling. So, but for right now, that's what it is. So you can follow me there. If you're a real person, not a bot, I'll follow you back. And you can check me out right here on Focus Fights. We're going to do a Super RIZIN preview as well. And maybe we're going to have a show to, Jay Krish, since we have a month-long intermission, or almost a 2-month-long intermission between the next show, maybe we do like a top 25 reasons that RIZIN is awesome show, like We Are RIZIN did with Drew.
You know what? As long as King CeeLo is on board.
He is. He already sent me the PDF, or I'll send it to you, of all the slides that he did.
I already got the PDF myself.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, he's totally on board. He says he wants us to expand on his top 25 list. So maybe that could be a show in the future. So check me out right here on Focus Fights. Also, Drew wants me to come on the We Are RIZIN podcast. I can't wait to be on that show to preview Super RIZIN 3 as well with Drew and We Are RIZIN podcast. Also, Todd Atkins had us on for the Japan MMA beat. And I want to shout out the City Life Project with Aisha. I was on his show as well, previewing 47. Hopefully, going to be on the show to preview Super RIZIN 3 and on the Rush Hour fight show, which the Rush City fight show, which is like an hour-long recap or a couple hour-long recap of the fights that happened over the weekend. They had me on as a guest, and it was really awesome. And they might have me back on after Super RIZIN 3. So you can check me out on all those different places, and just. Thank you again for having me on. It was awesome. Just love talking to you guys about this.
You're welcome, even though you talk too damn long. And Daniel, what say you? How can people contact you, even though it's already up on the screen? And real quick, do you think that Kai could win a world title in 5 years in the UFC?
If all things will go in a proper way, I think it's of course it's really possible to make it. Of course, it depends which weight class he will choose. But I think in flyweight that road would be much I would say, shorter than in bantamweight, but we will see. You can find me on the listed accounts, as well as Twitter and my Instagram. It's a double. I believe it's a double space on my Instagram. I don't know if it's proper or not, but it's a Daniel double space D. I'm posting there my lifestyle things and I'm advertising my all broadcasts from combat sports events, because I'm a commentator basically. Of course, I'm doing it in Polish. And first and foremost, I would say, I should say, I'm posting a lot of things in English, of course, on my Twitter/X, and you can also find me there. And first and foremost, you should and you can find me there. That's what I have to say.
Okay, fair enough. And as far as me, you can check out all the links, especially the link tree for this particular page. This particular platform in the description below. If you follow me, I'll follow you back, especially on my newer Twitter account. I'm still looking to get back on there, but the elongated muskrat is a piece of shit. But still, though, point of the matter is, you can check out all the links to me and all the links to Focus Fights in the description below. And of course, you can also, let's see here, follow the We Are RIZIN podcast as well. I'm pretty sure Andrew Benjamin wouldn't mind you checking out his stuff. Follow Combat Sports Today, because I'm pretty sure that they want your follow as well.
Yeah, they're good people, and hopefully we have Izzy Doa back on as a Combat Sports Today guy as well. Oh, you already got it? Nice. Yeah, hopefully he comes back as a guest on Focus Fight. Hopefully we have him back sometime. The Combat Sports Today people are fantastic.
Oh yeah, of course. And of course, join the RIZIN Fighting fans. Join the RIZIN Fighting Federation fans Discord. You'll join 900. Well, is it around 900 people already, or is it just 90? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Basically, the point of the matter is there's a whole lot of like-minded fight fans that basically just want to shoot the shit with you. If you join the RIZIN Fighting Federation fans Discord, which isn't the official RIZIN Fighting Federation anything, but if you join that fan page, I promise you'll leave with a newfound perspective on combat sports. But again, most importantly, check out my links and the link tree for Focus Fights in the Discord. Now, as Jay Wolf said, we will be on a month plus long break. I don't know. We're probably going to be coming back at the end of July just to basically put over a review or preview for Super RIZIN. I probably might bring somebody else to talk about the Pacquiao versus Chihiro fight as well, because of course it's boxing. We can only do so much. And if there's any extra information of what we're gonna be doing between now and Super RIZIN time, the Focus Fights Twitter, yes, I still say Twitter pages. Focus Fights, at Focus Fights and at Focus Fights _AUD will be the first places you'll get to know more info about it. But other than that, we've talked our asses off for damn near 3 hours. And I know that we're supposed to be going on a limit, but somebody wants to base.
Hey, Joe Rogan goes 3 hours. Why can't we?
Podcast limit to adhere to in case we want to put this shit on a podcast platform. Hopefully, speaking of the podcast, I want to eventually do more of these reviews and previews in audio form. So that's why the podcast time limit exists, Jay.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll keep it under 3 hours.
But yeah, the matter is, I'm done. Jay's done. Daniel's done. That's it from us for now. We thank you for enjoying this. All I gotta say is peace, my peoples, and one love, world. Protect yourself at all times. Keep fighting because you never know who might hear your story. And obviously, in the case of what we represent, we are fans just like you are, and we thank y'all for enjoying everything that the RIZIN Fighting Federation has to offer. And just to remember, if you want to check out more of what RIZIN has in store, hold up, wait a minute, let me find the link. Damn it. Basically, check out their links in the description as well. But still, though, for Jay, for Daniel, I'm Chris saying literally good night. We'll hope to see y'all at the end of next month, Lord willing, barring any hurricanes in my area, because it is hurricane season after all. And until next time, let Lenny Hart take us home by saying...
Pride never die. Pride is rising.
And with that,
Peace.
peace. And we'll talk to y'all next time. Later.